Groom's show of weakness at the foot of the elf god drove more than half of all orcs against him, denouncing him as their god, as a false Groomsh, mocking him as Groomsh no-eyed, and dividing the orcs of the world. But Groomsh endured, for the sake of his creations, his children. Under Moradin, Groomsh worked out a deal to show the craft-obsessed god the smithing techniques of his own personal making, and in return be granted a home long promised within Amaranth. With a home to house the orcs, Groomsh and the orcs still loyal to his vision and tired of the ceaseless strife, take to the anvil to live in a fleeting moment of peace, while those who deny the new direction stay true to their original vision, to conquer in the name of Groomsh and to destroy the false no-eyed, to bring back their true god once and for all. Welcome, travelers, to the Dragonleaf, the Teahouse where tales are told. If you like the content, leave a like in the tip jar and subscribe to our weekly tales. Leave a comment in the suggestion box to tell us how well we did, or how well we did not. I should not have done that. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry for listening. And without further ado, it's time to open up shop. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, you were taking them off so slowly.
Yeah.
I also do the worst, the worst one.
I also feel like you should be offering me a red or a blue pill.
Oh,
like,
yeah?
Glasses on, yeah, very Matrix vibes.
Mr.
Oh,
Anderson. Yeah.
Manderson.
You remember that part in the movie where they stopped him and said, Manderson? And then
still
Neo was like,
remember that.
what? And they just
My
left.
favorite edit. Bring back the Mander edit.
Yeah,
Manderson?
let's start getting this. Like, these are the real things we should be focusing on right now, people.
Yeah.
Last time, the Deviants explored their individual said threads within the city as JoJo met with her shamanic family in the Anvil.
Me.
Vincent set Rosa as the manager of the Heart's Desires and spoke with a young enchanter at the Threads of Fate. Matilda went to the open forums to discuss the missing Dragonborn and the Lyrian Order before being approached by Ogma, god of knowledge within the forum, and patron god of all bards. That might be a little bit of an interesting fact as well.
Quote, I'm pretty sure.
And patron god. Bards. Last time. That one actually feels like it's true. We jump back in. We are going to start naturally with JoJo. No, I'm just kidding. Matilda.
Naturally.
You stand before the god of knowledge. He leans down and ushers out a hand towards you. And Bards, but
how is his attire in regards to Vincent's? Like, is this like, you know?
Vincent is not there, and I'm not certain that that's the first thing that would run through Matilda's head.
I don't know. How good are his suede shoes? That's what I want to know.
They're blue. They're blue.
He said that, how did I know so much about what was going on outside the city?
He, like, as people begin to leave, he actually stands and moves over towards a little side room. And he says, just a little study hall, if you're interested. I have some questions. And I think you also have some questions. And I feel like I probably have the answers. If you're interested.
I reach out my hand to give it a shake.
He shakes and gives a smile.
I understand this is an open forum, but I didn't realize it was a place of propagating prejudice against dungeon-born people. There's a difference between an open, honest dialogue and causing fear amongst your population. So,
actually, it's a little bit different than that, I'd say. He opens the door and begins to move in towards the back. And he says, the thing about prejudice, you see, is that people will have it one way or the other, and those who do have it will not be swayed by the words of those who don't, without experiences. And to have such problems arise before them, such conversations arise before them, will either cause them to speak up against it, or it will reveal that they were always on the side of it in the first place. It's not necessarily propagating. It's more perceiving, I think. What are your thoughts on the matter?
I think having these kinds of places is a good idea, kind of to know what those idiots that are continuing to spread this stuff are saying, so you can keep an eye on it. If information changes or if they decide to do something about it, you can stop them. But I don't agree with it being about, if we're talking about dialogue, my mama Mal and Pom Pom always told me that if you're going to have open, honest dialogue, you have to have love for fellow beings. Otherwise, you're just using it as a guise to take advantage of other people, which is what they did a lot. So, then you're basically lying, and it's not dialogue. You're just trying to convince someone else to believe what you're believing. That's not a forum. That's just another way to start a cult, almost.
Oh, I disagree. I think the sharing of open information, be it, though bias always does seem to worm its way in, to have a location in which such ideas, one way or the other, can be shared is a brilliant way of expressing not only your own interests, but the interests of the people. As I'm sure you witnessed during that conversation, the vast majority of it led towards, I would say, the individual who was speaking previously's own self-destruction. Within the forum itself, you can see that there are certain topics that have been brought up in the past and dismissed and just keep seeming to come up again. One of which is one that I want to say young, but I don't particularly sit within a realm of age. So everyone's young to me. But Lucius was his name. He has been speaking quite frequently about the Dungeonborn, funny enough, and is trying to open different pathways towards discussion of both immigration in and out of the city, but also to raise the Dungeonborn from the dungeon and bring them into the city. He says that it's for the interests of diplomacy, but he has different motives.
Yes, I disagree considering the information I have about what's been happening in Dungeonborn recently.
I'd like to hear that if you have it.
What's in it for me? As Matilda throws in her inner Vincent. Beside herself.
Very blatant way of putting it.
Is this like a clear, almost, like, you're sitting there being like, what would Vincent do in this situation?
Yes.
He immediately picks up on that. He looks towards you and he says, well, the most valuable thing of all, information. See, the dungeon and the Iris and Argental, they're trying to keep information from the masses, and that's not exactly my forte. I would, just as a warning, I would try and not lie in my presence. It can be somewhat painful. Not that a lie, it's a bit more nuanced than that, actually. Because sometimes a lie can mask a fact, even if those who don't understand that they're sharing it. But a lie in order to attempt to dissuade or hide knowledge can be somewhat painful. I would advise, if you're attempting to deceive for the sake of hiding knowledge, it would be better if you didn't speak.
I don't want to hide knowledge. I just know that there's a lot of things that can be gained from sharing knowledge amongst each other. I'm very interested, and I know that you're very interested. My god is going to a fancy dinner party or something? I don't know, like a meeting with other gods, and we need other people to vouch for them. So would that be something that we could trade? A vouch for your old dad? Lavos?
Lavos is funny. I know a lot about him since he's arrived in the city, but I know very little about him from before. And what few small libraries I could fill with my knowledge of him does not seem to be sufficient. If you can tell me a bit about him, I might be able to think on this.
Why don't you just come over for tea? You can ask him yourself.
I'm not certain how that would look to other vested interests that might be watching.
Neutral location? I don't know how this works. The thing is that we don't know very much either.
It's a hard sell, certainly. But I do have a few questions. Before I consider, let me ask something. You had brought up the Lyrian Order. That's not a coincidence. So there's very little knowledge of the Lyrian Order, not only of that, but anything that might connect them to the dungeon. There are a few tidbits, of course. Some that might tie you to certain happenings. I'm curious about what you know. Small settlement to the south of the city. Oh, what was it called again? Then he looks at you just with a faint smile on the side of his face.
Town? What is he asking me? I'm confused.
For Tamara,
He's talking about Iron Hall.
He's talking about Iron Hall.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm so bad at geography. I was like, fuck, where is this?
That's where we figured out about the Lyrian Order's connection with the dungeon.
You know, the interesting thing about this is that there's so many people that are against dungeon-born and dungeon technology, but what I've been noticing is that it doesn't seem to apply when they're trying to use it for their own gain.
Of course not. You can dissuade the sting of a cannon, but you can't withstand its heft without the strength of a hull. To look towards the dungeon and say it should not exist is well and good, but you cannot bring down a shield without a sword. I think the people outside of the city are terrified, and most certainly the power that the dungeon offers is on everyone's plate. No matter their stance.
But they're using and harnessing things that they shouldn't be able to, or that they shouldn't want to, and things that shouldn't be here are here, and things that it's like we were told the rules of the dungeon and how it operates, and the rules aren't the same anymore, or they lied to us about what the rules were of how the dungeon and the world interacts with each other, because that's not the case from what I've seen.
The small pieces that we've managed to recover. Those who have been afflicted by I believe it's called the drugs that have been spreading throughout the city. Euphoria, was it? We've received information. Some of it has led us towards, well, your family. But it's as though they never even tried to hide that they are simply trying to set up your family for a downfall. You, maybe not you specifically, but you in the royal sense, have all caught yourselves in quite a bit of trouble, I think. You've answered a few of my questions, actually, just by trying not to. And I appreciate that.
Trying to not, but you'd also never know who's listening, so I'm trying to give you information that you're asking for without, at the same time, being a big blabby mouth.
I can assure you no one's listening.
And also, you didn't really give me what I asked for, so you kind of did it a half-ass, so I'm doing my end kind of half-ass at the same time. You said maybe, so here's maybe some information that will answer your questions, but it's not going to be specific.
You wanted me to vouch for your family, to join into the...
I mean, if it's me that's the issue, just vouch for Lavos. Like you can, like if you need to leave one of us out, that's fine. But he asked for us to do that, and I want to help.
I will request one thing.
Hmm.
I would like for you to try, within the near future, just try to put what had happened at the garden school to rest. Now, there are quite a few people within the city who still utilize you as an example. And that, I feel, is just wasted time. Some of the ideas that they've been generating are powerful and have momentum. And histories are very hard to erase. Similarly with Jojen's history. Quite a lot of anger there. Framed for burning down a small school wing. That's terrible. Vincent has quite a lot of baggage in the back of his, let's say, he's got a few skeletons in his closet, certainly. Your family is experiencing trouble, both on the forefront of you and in the background. To vouch for Lavos at this point in time, well, I would need to see some waves. And not the ones that are happening on the east, but you wouldn't know anything about that, I'm sure.
I think if you stopped listening to rumors and actually got a chance to talk with any of us, you'd realize that Lavos is the champion of underdogs, and we have been dealt a hand that was not our own choice. And all these things that are being said are things that people have decided about us. Now, for my family, they want to rise above these things. I don't know if I do. If they choose to believe that about me, I kind of want to make it come true. In that sense, I'm tired of people thinking of me as a certain way, and either I'm going to show them that I am or that I'm not. It doesn't matter to me which way it happens. Unfortunately, it could go poorly, but my other family members are trying very hard to move away from these ideas that people have of them. It's got nothing to do with us as people. It's all about what other one's perceptions are. And then that honestly teaches me a lot about the others that I interact with, including you, if that's something you choose to believe before you get to know us first. I understand that that information has power and that rumors have power, but so, like you said earlier, so does experiences. So before you make a judgment, I feel like you should have the experience of getting to know all of us first.
I think I know you quite well.
Well, you know me, but you haven't met the other people in my family.
Maybe not in person. Maybe not in this form. Maybe not in this life. But I feel like I know. I know that what happened in the school was dangerous. I know that Jojo is free. I know that it's hard. I know that it's hard. And I've actually met Vincent a few times, so I don't think he knows that. He leans back.
The difference between me and them is a lot of the things that they've done aren't their fault. But most of the ones that I've done, I've actively chosen. I think that's the big difference.
You mentioned before, and this is just maybe a matter of philosophy, that you just want to prove them right.
I
One
don't
way or the
care
other.
which way. I don't care which way it goes. Either I prove them right or I prove them wrong. But either way, I'm proving something.
I'm definitely interested to see whether you build mountains or whether you cut them down.
You say there's value in both. Doesn't necessarily mean they're good or bad. It's
Good and
people
bad
that
don't come into play.
No, I don't agree. I don't think
He leans back and he says, I've received quite a bit of information from this exchange. Thank you for it. Is there anything that you'd like to ask me?
We really want to know what's happening with these people that are being taken and why and where they're going. Do you know a person that we could possibly follow or where this is happening? We really... this needs to stop. It's very systematic and it's very scary if they succeed in doing what they're planning on doing with this.
Here's the funny thing about that. There's a lot more than one front of what's happening in the city right now. But everything is connected. It all connects. Strange little stone tower in the center. What goes on within it is protected. They don't even want me to see it, which is why I have to trust my family in discovering the truth of what's happening inside. But I can tell you one thing. There's more than one god at play. Some of which would not like this information to get out. If that makes sense. Find yourself further down the path. Then maybe I can illuminate a few more footsteps forward. Maybe.
Does it have anything to do with Altisha and why I keep seeing her old symbols inside the dungeon?
Everything's connected. Camera pulls out, goes through solid stone wall, and reverberates until eventually we find ourselves. I believe it is Vincent. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I really want to meta insight this.
Your passive insight does not extend beyond the bounds of the half mile between you and.
I just want to know if you already knew about that or if we gave him new information from the dungeon. That was it. But I will never know.
That was my gasp, as I was like, everything so far has been talking about outside the dungeon, but Matilda very much gave information about what's inside the dungeon at that moment. I was like, oh.
I have to assume his family is information gatherers. They might have already made that connection. That's very basic. Like we found.
No, I know, but also I feel like it was a cool thing to just be like, hey,
Yeah.
why is this?
I
like
love
this?
it. I absolutely love it.
I just wanted to know if he was just like, oh, nice, more information. 'Cause
I loved
thought
this
about it.
whole
I thought
scene.
I would know it.
He could have
He's
been.
like, oh, but not the ways in the east, which I'm sure you know nothing about. I love him.
Yeah, we zoom out.
Also, am I supposed to be suspicious of every single person? There's so many NPCs that he could be like, I'm this NPC, because he's like, I've been Vincent plenty of times.
There is not enough bonuses on this planet to see through one of these gods' deceptions.
No, I'm just gonna assume.
I bet you slept with a few of them too. Like, come on. Like,
You think Ogma doesn't have a pillow talk custom stat? Of course he does.
Not all. Ogma is the god of bards. It doesn't mean that bards don't immediately equal sex.
No, bards equal stories. Bards equal oral history. Bards equal travelers. Bards equal romance.
and
So-
select behavior.
That was the next one, but yeah, you saved it. Thank you.
That was
This time
just
has been
a
saved.
Below romance, yeah.
Just one. That was the next one. Yeah. It is Vincent. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to just make a proper. What's
Only
the
three
word?
of them.
Initiative.
Help you.
Tell you what, new year. Who dis? What were your guys' initiatives? It's 13
Mine was
for
13,
JoJo.
12,
I was
and
12 and Matilda was 3, but for some reason Matilda went before me, so we just kind of kept it.
I think we went from. Oh, I hear you. So yours was 12. Perfect. So after Matilda, that would circle around to Jojo. But I think I skipped Vincent, so Vincent, you're up.
No, so
No.
you replaced me with Matilda last time. Like you just went Jojo, Matilda, me. And I noticed it, but I was just like, it's fine.
Yeah, same.
So just move me to the bottom underneath
Yeah.
Matilda.
I'll put you at 1. Vincent, you're up.
Ooh. I was heading back to the home with our new arcanist. Or enchanter.
Our Candace.
No, it's an
Arkansas.
we have an arcanist. Now we have
Arkansas.
an enchanter too.
No, Arkansas. It's a different place.
On our way there, Vincent will ask us one question. One thing, dear. I didn't get your name.
You didn't. I didn't give it to you. That was mostly purposefully.
I figured. Well, if you are to join and you come into our family, it might be a little bit, better if you.
My name's Geely. We don't need to do the whole song and dance. My feet are tired.
Did he say Julie or Geely?
Geely.
Geely.
No spell.
How spell this name?
Here's spelled Geely.
Oh, this is. Does it have like a surname? Like what? This isn't normal, right?
Geely is not a local name, most certainly. Does not ring any certain bells for you though.
Where does this name come from? Where are you from?
Your carriage
Not
is quite
local.
nice.
It is.
Is this one yours?
It is, dear.
You've answered 3 questions, and I've answered 0. Does that mean I win? Are we almost there?
I see. Well, feel free to enjoy yourself, but let's see how you hold up against Lavos.
Okay. That's eerie. I can get out. He opens the door while it's moving. Am I in danger? Should I have just not been as trusting as I was?
Well, if you jump out of a moving carriage, I'd say that's pretty dangerous, dear.
He just steps out and begins to walk alongside it. He's like, this is a fair speed, actually. He's clearly beginning to trail back. It's like, I'm choosing to do this.
Dear, if you don't want to be sweaty, you might as well take a seat.
The carriage kind of pulls back a bit so that he can jump back in. I'm just joshing you, you know. You know how it could be sometimes. I'm just so vulnerable, and it's dangerous out there.
You know I know that you're not 16, right? Or you look like this anyways.
It fucking... Wait a minute. I almost gave you a name. I shouldn't have done that. But for real though, did Scaria send you?
Scaria... Is that what he said?
Yes.
Scaria. And what if they did?
Roll deception.
How long has it been since I saw him at the...
Oh, to go from there to Meow? Let's check.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Has
not
it
super
been-
long. It's actually an hour's
an hour?
travel. Yeah.
but we're not
67
the-
minutes.
We're not the full way through. This is like on the way. Do you think it's a little bit less than an hour?
Roll fate dice. And based on 1 to 10, 1 will be how close you are. Ah, you're there. It's been more than an hour.
Okay, then I will not have advantage on this. 23.
Listen, I know that they're really interested, but I just tell them no. Is that doable? As you guys have, putting me in a carriage and stuff, this one was new. But you're a better actor than the other ones. Most of the other ones just try and attack me.
I'm not going to attack you, Dia. Also, no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, cool.
And at this point, Vincent kind of knows, glancing out the window, that we're basically here. So he'll go to stand up and open up the door. And if you still care to join our family, and he'll step out.
Yeah, sure. He steps out, begins to take a few steps out of the carriage and looks around. He's like, wow, this is a dump. Oh, you got a nice
Well,
house though. Yeah, the house there is good. You guys live in Old Town then, huh? Isn't this like crown property?
It was.
Cool. He just begins to stride forward. So tell me this stuff that you want. So where's my workshop?
He points to one of the piles of the rubble near the lake.
His head just hangs and he's like, I mean, I can't make use of that.
Not yet.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool. Well, I'll just like chill for a while then. I can do some stuff on my own. So you're interested in that formula stuff. That's awesome. I can get in on that. I already have a basic idea of the formula that I'll build for your ear rocks. Those are fun.
It's called the Silent Melody, dude.
Silent Melody. That's good, and that's good for marketing. Great. So I'm here now. Lavos opens the door on the side, and then kind of just begins to stride forward, looking down.
Vincent will mentally connect with him. This guy's been a bit of a handful. Feel free to give him the runaround. But he wishes to join the family.
Lavos just walks forward. You see he's got this just like tired gait about him. And as he approaches the guy, he just like cracks his back slightly and just like reaches out a hand for a formal handshake. The kid's like, oh. Reaches up, shakes his hand. He's like, oh, been getting cold out recently. Yeah, God, it really has been. Yeah. Hey, do you know that place down by the river? It's got like, it's a big shop. He's like, oh, the Glass Priestess. I mean, did you just say a place or? Because I didn't even describe anything, but it's down by the river. There's lots of fucking buildings down there. He's like, you don't need to, dude. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Like, all right. Anyway, so as I was saying, they have the really good tapioca down there. It's like, oh, dude, I know. Oh my God. And the two of them turn and just begin to move towards the house, as though they are old friends, just conversing about random garbage.
Can I insight this? What's going on?
Go ahead.
Is kid a god?
When
Is
he's
this Lavos' bastard child?
Probably not.
Okay.
I think that's how this works.
Lavos approached, looked him, sized him up, and was like, this is probably the best way I should be acting. And the kid all but immediately was like, oh, I have attached to this, and has begun to move forward in this just comfort. He enters into the house, and Lavos is just like, oh yeah, it's been rough. Here, watch your step. And he's like, oh, thank you. Strides forward and then gives you a knowing nod before entering into the home.
Manipulative?
Vincent had trained him a little bit at the beginning. Vincent will give him like a little eye kind of nod too, and let him do his thing. Thinking, Damon, I had something I wanted to ask. No, it's gone. I'll think about it later. Here we go.
As you're like outside, you're sitting there for a second. Carson approaches you and says, there is one thing that we should probably discuss.
What is it?
I have been tailing Matilda. But, yes, it was. I've also been tailing Jojo, but she's dreadfully boring. She's doing volunteer work or some such. But Matilda has fallen off the radar. She's
Like she
gone.
left the city?
She was temporarily in the open forms, then she disappeared.
What? Explain exactly what happened. She like teleported, vanished.
Well, it's more like I vanished. I was tailing her, and then she entered into a room by herself, and then everything went black.
Do you know of anything in the city capable of doing this? Maybe one of your kind?
Perhaps. It would seem unlikely, from at the very least who I know is about. Perhaps a deity or maybe some kind of... I mean, you have been dealing with some assassins of late. But nothing that I shouldn't have been able to handle.
That's what I mean. She's dealing with a deity. Interesting. Well, Let's take a quick jaunt into the circle. Maybe I'll send her a message. Or
Well,
is your form still in the area near her? Can you just check it out?
I would actually need to, I think, get within the area because I'm curious about that. At current, I don't think so.
I guess lead on. Lavos has got our new family member covered.
On the inside of the house, you just hear... You see dust tear up against the windows and faint bits of color like foam had just splashed across the room. And then in a few moments of silence, you hear, "Fucking hell," and "I'm an enchanter!" And then Carson kind of takes the reins and whips them as you guys begin to move.
I do want to say, fuck Carson for throwing me under the bus. Oh, she went into a room alone. Fuck you, Carson.
No, he's saying that he couldn't see Ogma is what he's saying.
No, he was snitching on me. Fucking bitch. It's just like
Yeah,
Matilda went into a room alone, and now
That's
everyone's gonna be
natural.
mad. Now everyone's gonna be mad at her because she went off by herself again. So
Well, I don't think you're the one that made him disappear, so there's something.
I know.
Matilda went to a library and then entered a room. What a bitch.
No, but like you just the way that he said it made it sound like it was like Matilda went into a room alone again.
No.
This chick.
That's not even where my
Unintentional. I will clarify
I know, but
I did remember what I was gonna ask before. Carmina, she has like an Arcanist enchanter's room at their house, right? As well as probably her own.
She does indeed.
I wonder how I could convince her to let me. Oh. So we'll see on that. It's always a thought.
You begin to move. With an Arcanist under your belt, you have added one more to the family. Or not an Arcanist, rather an Enchanter. You have an Arcanist, but they're kind of absentee because they have nothing to do and nowhere to work. But the camera pulls out. We find Jojo once more. Vincent, where are you heading before I change scenes?
They're coming in the late afternoon, and then Lexi's gonna be like way after dinner, so we still got time to go find Matilda in. I'm assuming Carson told them the area she was inside of Ogman's district, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll head down there then.
Alrighty. You jump on the carriage and begin to head towards the open forums. Meanwhile, Jojo, you find yourself within this central area where these orcs have been unhomed. You see a lot of people here as the wood comes in and these bundles are placed down. People just move in and begin going to work, building various different structures. There's a large kind of just pile of goods that's being overseen by this half-orc woman that's standing at a very short height comparatively. And as all of this is kind of just moving and bustling around you, Argent turns back and kind of just cocks their head. I will make this, we'll solidify this in stone now. Do you want Argent to be your cousin or your cousin?
My cousin, please.
Okay. Which one is that? I dug my own grave.
The same person who was there last session. Same person.
Amazing. Argent stands and looks over towards you. What do you do?
Jojo knows that we're looking for more family members, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only like 7 of us, so probably.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean, I might have a place for some people if they're interested in joining a family.
I don't know what Chell would do about that, but how many spaces do you have?
I don't know. As many as we can get, I guess. I don't know.
I think some of these people are bound, probably
Hang on.
Joaquin or Umberly, but
Take out a sending stone. Hey, who do I have the sending stone to? Do I have the one to Dad? I think I do, right?
I think those you have. Matilda has the one. No, Vincent had the one to Lavos currently, and then you have the one that Matilda has.
Okay, so I call up Matilda on the sending stone. Hey, Matilda, we were looking for people to join the family, right? How many spots do you think we have? Do we want lots of people?
On your end, Matilda, you just hear this like static, and then Ogma's like, "Oh, sorry," waves his hand, and you begin to just hear the audio come through.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, you're muted. Ogma's like, "Oh, my mistake."
Yes. If they're not stupid or annoying, probably. And then I probably remember how many spaces we have. So using my keyed mind, I open my mouth. The DM can tell. Spaces.
Let me actually bring you guys into your house little map there. Man.
As far as I know, we're looking at as many as available. Like, I don't think we have a limit. Like,
I don't think they also have to live in the main house. If they want, they can come build some
it's
stuff
more
on
if
the
Davos
property.
wants them. Like, if he's like, I don't want this dude, he's something,
Yeah.
then he would just deny him.
If you guys want additional workers, I think you need to actually benefit from them. You need the trades workshop, but they can be in your family. You guys can have like up to 10 people in your family right now. You currently have 6 now. Let me go ahead and add an enchanter here.
I think we have 6 minus us, right?
Only those of you who live in the family home. So you have Selene, Killian, Matilda, and Jojo. It's 4. And then
So
you also
Killian-
have.
Okay, Killian does live there.
And then you have a butler. That's 5. You have a cook. That's 6. You have Paka. Yeah, he has a room. That's Paka. You have 1. So you're at 7. You can basically put 3 more people in, and then at that point, if you want more, you need to build a side building. Upon which that just makes it you can have as many family members as you want.
How much is that?
2,500. Yeah.
2,500 as well. Dang.
Yeah, Jojo will just send a message back, be like, I'll just keep an eye out if there's anyone that catches my eye.
They can also, like Matilda would have said, they can also just camp out on her land in the meantime.
What is that?
It's standing stone.
It's a
That's
face.
Matilda. Are you talking about Matilda? Oh, I know it's
No.
ugly as hell.
I don't. It's just started fucking moving.
Yeah, I know it's gross.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it sucks.
Are those
Okay,
required?
For what?
Being like a family member?
Why, you want to join? I thought you were interested in joining Grumptions.
I am. I just don't want that.
Ugly face.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Looks like
think
it's
you need them.
staring at me.
We have a lot of them, though.
Good?
It's
Bad?
No, it's great. It's a good
Okay.
magic item. But... Okay, well,
You can put it away.
yeah. I'll help you out for a bit, and then I gotta go back to my home. So
I get you. Hey, any help
Yeah.
is appreciated. Thank you.
yeah, let's go.
You turn. You begin to basically move about the area. If you are interested in looking through for some skilled workers, you can go ahead and roll investigation in this
Okay,
regard.
yeah, I'll do that.
It was like, no.
Nah, I don't care. You said investigation?
Indeed.
Well, maybe I don't care. 12.
12. Looking around, you can see that some people who had immediately moved in and taken the bundles, some of which are just kind of offering to help, and are it's either just an immediate need to do something, but you do see one person who is actually working rather deftly with the buildings and are organizing other people. There does seem to be a woodworker within the vicinity.
Yeah, Jojo will go up to him and be like, "Hey, where do you need help?"
They look you up and down. They reach forward and kind of just grab your arms and begin to move you. The mitts are just gigantic. Scarred hands. They look around. Over
Who are
here.
you?
Sorry?
All right, I'd like to know who someone is before they start shaking me.
Oh, fair enough. You can just call me Lionheart.
Lionheart. That's a cool name.
Yeah, I had to tear one out to get it.
Oh, sick.
It was before all this fancy shit. Points towards his ash bond.
Oh, yeah?
Hmm.
Do I see the god symbol or nah?
You take a look. It is the god. Actually, roll religion.
This guy's an orc, right? Nah, I don't recognize it. 6.
This guy is an orc. You see, it is a symbol of a hammer, an anvil, and a pair of tongs, all of which overlaid on top of each other. You know it's not Grimsh, but you don't particularly recognize it.
Feels Gandhi or Mordini or something.
Oh, it's Gandhi.
Oh,
You got it in one. That's the symbol of Gandhi, the tongs and the hammer.
Yeah.
Yep. It does it feels smithy, definitely.
Jojo will just, get to work wherever he told her to go.
Gives a nod. You move and you begin kind of working. You have woodworker's tools proficiency?
No, but I do have repairing tantrum damage as a custom skill.
You can add that for sure.
Okay, great. That's a plus
somewhat
3.
relevant.
1, 2, 3. D20 plus 3, it'll 12.
You are working to the best of your ability and slightly better than the average person is trying to do. Like, you're showing promise.
Okay.
As you move in, you begin to work. You do so for probably a few hours. As this person looks over towards you and just kind of gives a nod. Not particularly impressed to them, but seeing that you can handle your own, they leave you be.
Cool. Yeah, Jojo just hangs out there and helps out. I think she sort of is like, that person's promising, but they're taken. And that's cool. So she just helps out for a bit. And then afterwards, we'll head back to Old Town.
As you are turning to leave, the individual takes a small kind of wooden shaft and just tosses it over towards you. Small leather handle on it. You catch it. It's akin to a water skin.
Jojo takes a swig of this just water.
It is just water. He just kind of throws you that as a matter of goodwill, and you see he gives you a nod and then begins to move about with other people kind of handing out these similar drinks. Just a little bit of a refreshment from the day's work.
She goes back up to him. Hey, can I ask you something? Were you displaced by the water, or are you just helping out?
I'm just here. I live on the outsides of the anvil wall. I'm just a worker. Figured I could be of use.
Okay. Have you heard much about people thinking that it's weird that the flood has lasted this long, or?
I mean, we're in a city of gods. It's probably just one of their whims or a spat or something.
Okay. That's what I thought too, but I don't know if a god is just pissy and floods a district. Aren't other gods supposed to step in and be like, fuck off?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they fucking should. What do you think it's done around here? I don't think that they particularly care about us unless we're paving the stones through the dungeon for them. There's only a few that matter. He looks over towards Grubsh's home. You know, there are only a few who really care.
Yeah. Does yours care? She head nods towards the Ashfall.
Not much. It's more about the craft. Is absentee for the most part. Muttering about lost love this and perfecting that. But it's useful.
How come you haven't, or have you talked to Grumsh? I mean, I've been there. Grumsh didn't want to take me.
Roll persuasion with advantage.
17.
To be honest with you, I don't think I deserve it.
Why?
I was around during the first fights. Saw the fall. I don't know, I didn't stick around to pick up the pieces. Took me a lot of time to realize that he was right. I don't know. I think there's some things I need to work through first.
You know, there's my family's got some openings, and I think a lot of people in my family feel that way. If you're interested, we're in Old Town. Got underdogs.
Thank you.
Okay, see you around.
Yeah. He turns around and moves back towards the group.
Jojen.
Thanks. The Calamity.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, you are.
Yep.
You turn around and head out, and he returns to the myriad of work at his footsteps.
She will return to Old Town and be like, "Where the fuck is my family? Who's this kid?
Are you taking a carriage?
Oh, nah, she'll.
No.
Walk.
I don't think I charged you for the last one. That's okay. It was a new guy. You could tell he was sweating. He was nervous. He was just like, "Have a good day." And then you left, and then halfway through, the carriage stopped and turned around and then stopped, and it was awkward. And another carriage came by, and then they just backed away and left.
Nice.
You return to Old Town and find no one is there.
Who's this kid? Is he kid still
there? Basically, like when you enter in, Lavos is like mostly done cleaning up this just multicolored foam that just erupted all over the living room. He's like on the ceiling being like, "It's on the fucking ceiling." He's like, "Hey, just watch your back. Your lower back can really get hurt in that position." He's like, "Oh yeah, you're right about that. Thank you." Shores up like the ladder. You can see he grabs the ladder made of wood and just jumps, and then another rung fucking pops onto the bottom of the ladder, and he's like, "Oh, that's better."
I do like the idea that Jojo walks in and assumes that it's probably Matilda at first, and then she sees this kid.
Hey, hello. How are you?
Hey.
I'm a family member now. You don't know Scaria, do you?
No.
Good.
Okay.
I like you.
Jojo.
You don't ask questions and you give your name. My name's Geely.
Geely. Okay. Yeah. Interesting name.
I mean, yeah, I'm an interesting person.
Cool.
It is. You want a butterscotch candy?
Yes.
Here you go. He pulls one out of his pocket and gives it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. He sits down on the couch.
I like the new kid, and she like goes into her room.
You see that Rose, Mugo, and Quince are just kind of watching all this happen and are every now and then scraping up some foam and just spreading it along the ground and running away just to fuck with Lavos a little bit.
Aw.
The camera zooms out. Matilda, you were speaking with Ogma for quite some time following this.
Yeah. I did want to say, we may not agree, but I do appreciate that about you, so I would like to continue to come talk to you possibly, or come down here.
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like this was a bit of a chance encounter.
Oh.
But I don't see an impossibility between our families. Maybe some of our members become friends.
Okay, but I also do want to share more information with you, which is why I wanted to see you again. I just know that I should probably talk to my family members first before I start spilling beans.
Of course, if you like. I'm always a fan of open and free communication. Does any information?
Well, some of it's not mine to give, so I don't want to.
The very concept.
No, there's like freedom of information, but then there's also consent. So if it's not my information to give and it's important to people I care about, then I don't feel like it's mine to share.
I can't say that I understand, but I can say that I empathize. So, please, a fact is a powerful thing. An idea more so. If you have any ideas or facts that you wish to share, the open forums is a good place to start.
If you want to ask me a question, I can see what I can do pertains to me.
the only kinds of questions that I really don't know the answer to are matters of perspective. He moves towards the wall and places his hand on it and just runs it across. And the area that he touches just turns transparent. But not only to the room beyond, but to the entire exterior of Amaranth. Like a single line had been cut through every building between you and the dungeon, and you see the dungeon blocking whatever this is that he's doing. He points you through this small window and he says, "What do you think about that?"
I think of it as a goal and a distraction to a larger thing that are happening behind the scenes. Also, think that people aren't being honest with its connection to our world and how there seems to be a lot of connections. I don't think it's as separate as people like to think it is. And I also am very suspect of the fact that we're not allowed to share information about it amongst each other. If really the goal is to get up there, then we want to get up there quicker by sharing information, share the boon if it was truly about getting to the top of the dungeon. Is it more about amassing followers and power? Yeah, that's kind of what I think.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I believe Vincent is coming. Along with, well, roll charisma.
Yes, because Matilda has lots of that. Well, she does, but...
You're a warlock.
I know. That's why I was laughing.
You also guide yourself. I don't know how insulted you though.
Can I? No.
Yeah, like ability checks.
I know, but like,
you can guide yourself.
Is it too quick, Adrian?
A spark of divine inspiration. No, I like it. I like the narrative of it in this moment. I think in a normal situation you can't, but this is Zamayatel offering you something. 25. Ogma lets slip a little bit of information. Maybe consciously, maybe not. Whether it's a crack in the armor of what seems like an infallible creature, or a willful smile and a jest and a little bit of a fun tidbit. He says, Vincent's coming, along with his family. Now, I'm afraid this is where we have to say goodbye for a time. I will consider your request. I find your views refreshing. And I'm interested to see the perspective of the rest of your family.
I find your ability to dialogue without getting mean is very much appreciated, because it is a thing that is lost amongst the masses. So thank you for disagreeing with me, because without disagreement, we would all be complacent. So thank you.
Charming. And he opens the door and gives a genuine smile. And as you kind of move out through the doorway and he closes it behind him, the entire door pretty much just fades off. Just a solid little wall there. And as you reach the outer area of this location, Vincent, once again, as Carson is riding forward, the horses begin to just move on their own. And he's like,
I hate, I'm going to insert Bianca's tidbit here. I hate meta knowledge. You got to lock that away, never use it. Okay, continue.
Carson stands there and he looks towards the gate, the illusory gate, and he says, child's play. Reaches forward and just kind of pats the side of the horse's head, and it just kind of begins to move outside of sync of the other one, and he pats the other horse. It also begins to move, and he just carries it forward. The other horses that are sitting there drinking in unison turn and in unison move over towards the feeding trough and begin to eat. Some of them just stop and just kind of begin to rest. And then he just kind of parks the horses in the middle of the fucking walkway and then gets out of the carriage to let you out.
Vincent will get out of the carriage and sort of like give a look around. So, where did you last ping her?
Within the forum's central hallways. Here, come. I'm actually interested in taking this on personally.
What has piqued your interest? Don't mind me asking.
I'm not a fan of
interference.
Unknowns.
I see.
He moves over towards the central area and begins to stride forward. Several people are looking towards the two of you and seeing your degree of dress, and you begin to hear amongst the murmuring of them with your passive perception that they're just like, oh, patrons? Patrons come to visit. Then everyone moving about each other and just spreading the rumors that the two of you are the money. But as you begin to approach the central hall, at that point you open it and you see Matilda. Standing there looking towards the doorway, and a faint sparkle of light dissipates.
Can I roll perception in that? Like, why is there a sparkle of light?
You may roll Arcana.
Oh, that's going to be great.
I do want to say that when he did like the whole entire like, oh, I can show you the world window, and then also like the sparkles, Matilda's like really unfazed. She's just like, oh yeah, it's just a Tuesday. Like,
oh, it's just magic, you.
I got a nat 20, so it's a 22 Arcana.
22 Arcana. You can definitely tell that there's some form of like transformative magic that was going on that is just coming to fruition upon you guys showing up.
I'll make kind of eye contact with Matilda and then look towards Carson and then start walking in her direction.
Oh, hey, I didn't know that you were coming to the forums. I would have waited.
Can I roll insight on that deception?
No, it wasn't a lie.
But Agma just told you I was on my way.
Yeah, but that was after we were done.
Okay. I mean, I'm misunderstanding what you're saying then.
Are you intentionally trying to withhold information? Or
No,
do you feel like that statement was genuine?
It was genuine. And Matilda would have, if she knew that you wanted to come, she would have waited until you were available to come.
Sure. I get it. Okay. You know, you went off on your own, and I know JoJo can handle herself, so I figured I'd come down and see how you're doing.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of racism here, but otherwise it's all right.
Well, you're never gonna escape that in this world, dear. And he just gives like a little bit of look over his shoulder and look back. It's always there. Did you make any headway on what you wanted to do?
I think so.
And were you practicing any new magic? I saw something happening in front of you.
No.
So what was that then?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Now can I roll insight?
Insight versus persuasion or deception, your choice. You do not need to say which. You can also do a ninja roll if you like. And I'll just determine the victor.
You want me to ninja roll?
You can do yours outright. It's just that if you're doing persuasion or deception, it only gets revealed on a successful insight.
Like Matilda could guide herself, but I'm going to see she's guiding herself, and then.
No, she's being genuine.
Yeah, Ogma opened a door and I walked through it. I don't know what that was.
Carson, leaning down one knee to the side, he says, I suppose that explains this. And then he kind of steps back. What you guys see from your immediate perspective, nothing particularly. The ground itself is slightly discolored, but Carson leans back and brings you guys down to eye level as you see this like long smear. The closer you get to the ground and the shorter the smear becomes from your perspective, it's just the shape of a human man splattered across the entire area. Like a shadow painted across the ground.
Is this a trademark of his that you know about, Carson?
No, this was a body of mine.
Figured.
I don't like it here.
Well,
You said Agma, right?
yes.
So you had a conversation with a god.
Yeah.
Interesting. You must have stirred up quite a crowd here.
Not really. I just pointed out someone's bigotry.
Go ahead and roll insight. Vincent.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Upon that statement. You have reading the room, don't you, as like a custom skill? That thing you have?
I have... No, we changed it to cool under pressure because you said that one would be too much like insight.
Yeah, that definitely applies to a lot more abilities. Looking about, you can see that there is both animosity and curiosity in equal measure, pointed relatively towards you lot. With your passive perception, you also take note of this tiefling individual who stands at the corner of the room and just stares at you from an elevated pathway.
Is this a friend of yours, Matilda?
Oh, they do that. They just stare.
Do you want to go say hello?
I tried. They walked away from me. So I don't think they want to talk.
Vincent looks over in his general direction. What's his like demeanor now that Vincent's staring directly at him?
Looking at the individual. Here we go.
Didn't I see what family they were from? I'm pretty sure I did.
I don't remember.
I don't believe so.
I remember smoldering eyes. He gave you the blue steel look.
Yeah. As they are looking towards you, well, they were at one point looking towards Matilda, and there seemed to be a spark of animosity.
Oh.
As you approach and you begin to speak with Matilda and you look up, they look towards you and that animosity somewhat dissipates.
Anti-human.
Well, he just assumed you were anti-tiefling because you were human. And he'll look over towards Matilda. Well, I think to put it in words, my presence might smooth things over a little easier with this one. Why don't we go say hello?
I didn't do a bad job, though. I did a good job.
I know,
I don't think there's anything to smooth over. I mean, if these people
I don't think it's anything you did.
No, but if
how the world is.
If they want to be small-brained and have assumptions and about gossip and things they hear, that's their own issue. Not ours.
Well, they seem interested, and I'm curious to see why they're, interested in us. Sometimes you have to take the advantages that come by.
Carson stands up and says, "Would you like me to retrieve them for you? I wouldn't mind blowing off some steam."
This one? And he looks back towards the tiefling.
Mm-hmm.
If you wish. I wouldn't mind having him come to us. It's always nice.
Where would you like them? Family home or just around the corner?
Why are you kidnapping them?
I look towards Matilda. I don't think it's a kidnap, dear. It's just a nice nudge and persuasion, a certain direction. Let's just talk around the corner. And we'll head there while Carson does his thing.
Carson turns and begins to make his way towards the stairs, and the two of you begin to make your way towards a less visible space. Carson, you can see frustrated, incredibly. Now he has an animosity about him, but he begins to make his way towards the stairs. And as you all begin to move out of the immediate area, Jojo, you are at home. Was there anything else that you wished to do in this moment?
No. No, I think I'm good.
Excellent. The butterscotch candy, pretty good. Pretty good.
I do like to think as we're walking away, Matilda's like, I was expecting you to be here with Jojo, or maybe Killian, or maybe your mom, Because they said your family was coming with you. And then she just says it like she was just like surprised that it was just you. She just walks on.
No, aside from me and Carson, no one came along. But how did you know this, dear?
Oh, what told me? He said you and your family were coming.
Huh.
But,
Either way, we got things to do right now. Let's focus on that.
As you begin to move, a few moments pass, to a minute, to two. Then around the corner, you see the tiefling individual begins to move, rounding the back and finding themselves in a small alleyway in the side of these large buildings. The shade giving way. Basically, noon had just passed, and as the sun passes through, you now find yourselves in the middle of these buildings. Carson behind him forms a barricade at the back, and the two of you in the front. Carson looks towards him with just almost a burning in his own eyes. Steel gray, but cold and hot at the same time. At that point, the tiefling looks towards the two of you and says, "So what do you know about the Dungeonborn?" You guys can tell that the situation that you've been placed in is all but immediately less than, like, equitable, with Carson kind of looming aggressively behind this individual and them being brought forward to you in this back alley. You now encircle them, and they kind of keep an eye on their back and look over towards you lot.
I'll mentally tell Carson to simmer it down a little bit. You've blown off a little bit of steam.
Matilda offers her hand in a handshake if they'll take it. My name's Matilda. Nice to meet you.
You move forward, and they do not. They just kind of like take a step back, making a note to keep their foot in the sand and just dragging it backwards.
Well, you seem like an individual that was interested in us. Do you have anything you wish to talk about?
You're making waves. You shouldn't. Don't push your luck with this dungeon shit. Stop advocating for Dungeonborn. You're just gonna end up dead sooner than later. I don't give a fuck about the human. Less of them, the better. There's only so many of us in the city. He looks over towards you, Vincent. He says, we need to keep together.
He's saying this out loud in common, right?
He's speaking in common, yes.
Okay. Is it innate that tieflings are born with infernal, or is it something that we learn?
You are born knowing infernal.
Okay. Vincent will mentally connect to Matilda. Just for his peace of mind, I'm going to switch over to our dialect. I'll tune you in after.
Don't I understand infernal?
You know how to read the scripture?
Sorry, okay.
And the verbal language.
Sorry, I get confused, thank you.
Yeah, Abyssal uses the same script for both.
Okay.
Yeah, but the verbal language is it's like different dialects, basically.
That's totally fair.
So we'll switch over to infernal, just so we can keep this quiet. This individual might appreciate it. You should know better than I that sticking together, all of us who are oppressed, is our best interest. Shunning those and making our circles even smaller. Why?
You can't trust them. Responding to you in infernal.
Why? Do you have any issue with the Dungeonborn?
We are the only ones who will keep our best interests at heart. We help them now. In 10 years, what do? It's in their nature to betray all of them.
I'd say the same about us.
Some stray from the path. But we look after each other. We have to.
Where has that gotten us?
He points
Can't do
towards
this by ourselves.
He points towards Matilda and he says, "That is where it's gotten us."
What inciting that? What is he referring to?
Roll history. Your insight determines that there is just a seething anger in his words, but
I have advantage if I ask Carson about this too. Lean in on this.
Carson can offer you help in this regard, sure. He is here physically.
History, right? Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Bit better, 19.
You know, generally the long history of the tiefling is mired in tragedy. Most tieflings come from Asaria to the far east of the world, in which those who are either not Goliath due to their immense strength and capability of surviving the incredibly harsh land, or human due to their just simple populous nature and their incredible ability to adapt, are all but enslaved or sought out and sold or battled in pits, and it's a ruthless, ruthless life. You did not grow up with this, having grown up within the city, but you do know that mentality, that hatred, is just pervasive, especially among large groups of tieflings and Asamarian and even Genasi in some ways. You ascertain that's where all of this is coming from.
So what he was basically talking about from the beginning.
He was saying, yeah, you can't, like, her. Where it got us, even letting our guards down for a moment, it got us humans. That's what it got us.
Feel free to be angry. But you're going to be left behind if you do.
He reaches his hand into his pocket and then, not like slowly or anything, just does. And then you see when he pulls his hand out, it's covered in this fine red powder, and he just slams it against the wall and pulls away to leave a red handprint on the wall.
Vincent has heard about this before. While we were at the very beginning of the campaign, those two individuals that came in, the Goliath and the human, they talked about the locket, and I think they mentioned something about a tiefling on the other island and like red marks and stuff. Was that right? Or no.
You are correct. However, go ahead and roll history as well here. You may roll with advantage on this one.
Will Matilda understand the red hand?
Through your studies. If you are proficient in history, you can also roll.
Yes, I am proficient in history.
22.
May I guide myself, Adrian?
That one would be a little risky. You might incite this person's like aggression.
Okay, I don't want to make aggressive.
Ooh, it's sneaky dice.
The both of you know the symbol of the red hand is one that's both underground and viewed as the leader of it, whose name is Rayleigh Redhand, was said to have been a tiefling who escaped Asaria and helps other tieflings to do so, and tries to move people. However, his name is associated with like positive things. Mm-hmm. People look towards Rayleigh Redhand as kind of a good motivating factor of like peace among races, and see him as this kind of almost guru type. But a lot of the group of the Red Hand can be seen as overly aggressive and very quick to anger, very dangerous, in various different directions. That's what you guys know from your rules. He places the handprint on the wall and looks towards you, Vincent, as though telling you like this is I'm going to walk away. You're not going to stop me. Not as a threat, but just like a solidarity. I know you're not going to stop me. And he turns to leave. Do you have Carson stop him?
Yes.
Carson takes a step in the way. And then he's just like, fucking humans. Carson, you haven't the faintest idea.
Did you say fucking humans in common?
In common, yeah. Well, we wanted to make sure that the humans could understand.
I need to leave. Am I causing a problem?
Yes.
It's fine, dear. This one is just... He doesn't know what's better for him. We can let him go, but is there a reason why you kept staring at us before we let you leave?
Roll persuasion. You don't have disadvantage. Okay.
28, not 20.
Eee.
It looks towards the two of you. Turns around and kind of glances back at Carson again, who just takes a single step forward knowingly. And then he... Those... The Dungeonborn. I wanted to know what you knew. I gather information, it's what I do. So as soon as this one walked forward and started talking about it, I was interested.
Are you gathering it for yourself or is it for someone else?
You have to know what's happening in the city. You always do. Doesn't matter where or who. You always have to know. It's the only way to stay alive.
Well, he'll look towards Matilda. Maybe we can exchange some information if you want.
Still speaking in common, or were you talking in?
No, we're talking in common now.
Okay. I think it's important when you're part of a targeted community to understand who the people are targeting. My concern is that if you allow the Dungeonborn to take the fall for this one, they'll just turn their ire back on you after they forget or they've eradicated all the Dungeonborn.
You seem very well versed in your own history. He gives the smile, flashing sharp teeth, as almost like in a threatening way. Yes, you're absolutely right. You humans will destroy anything.
Vincent is going to cast silent, subtly, charm person on this person who's tired of this attitude.
Okay, wisdom saving throw.
Yeah. It will be a 15.
You see, as he flashes those just angry teeth, his eyes kind of just gloss over for a second, and he dazes for but a moment before returning to his demeanor, and then it just kind of settles a little bit as he looks towards you. In essence, he's recognizing one of his own, one of his ilk, member of his own group. If you're here with a human, there's probably a reason for it in his mind at this point. So he calms down quite a bit.
It's not incorrect, Vincent. I am the product of that human nature. I wouldn't have been born if he wasn't greedy and destructive. My parents, they told me why I was here. I have a very different and interesting perspective as a human.
What is your name?
Tail.
Tail. How do you spell that?
I threw it in chat. He reaches a hand forward to clasp forearms.
Does Vincent's insight know that if he were to deny this, it would probably set off alarms in his head?
He views you as a friend one way or another. If I went to handshake a friend and they didn't, I wouldn't be like, you must hate me. I'd just be like, oh, I wonder why he did that.
Yeah, as he goes to reach in, I'll just raise a hand up and be like, not right now.
He just brings his sleeve down and shows a hidden dagger, and then brings it back up just to keep you informed. And then he leans back and he says, so, what's with all this?
What information do you have on the Dragonborn? Or the Dungeonborn?
I was trying to make sure it got to the right channels. But I didn't expect it would actually become a topic of conversation today. There's been a lot of movement out of the dungeon. The same robed people. Same time, dead of night. Dungeonborn after dungeonborn. Carriages full. And crates. I don't know why they're moving them out, but then they just bring them right back in afterwards. Some kind of nightly ritual.
What was the group called that Alex, you wanted me to look into?
The Order of Avarice.
Does this have anything to do with the Order of Avarice?
We've heard the name. Some kind of dungeon interior worshippers or something. They've been operating a lot in the 10th floor, it seems. At least within a town.
Color were the cloaks. Was there any symbols?
He looks towards you, Vincent.
I nod.
Looks back towards Matilda and says, they wear this kind of ash gray. No symbols, as far as we can see.
Any of the people bound that were going back and forth that you can see? Or transporting Dungeonborn?
We didn't get close. We made sure to keep our distance. We're just eyes. I'm an eye. I'm not a hand. But, no symbols, no determining factors. Tall enough, thin enough, likely humans. Could be half-elves, maybe.
Are they taking them?
You're just bringing them out and back in. That's the thing, you're not taking them anywhere.
But they take them out. Where do they take them out to?
No. Are you familiar with the interface offices?
Yes.
They've been moving them out into the lanes of dawn.
Doing that would cycle them onto a different floor or instance of the floor. Maybe they're looking for something specific. Trying to get the right one.
Maybe. Could be there's some kind of experiment or something going on. Well, all I know is the amount they're moving is substantial.
You've been
Can I jump in
hearing
with a pigeon?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure if they leave the dungeon and then go back in, they can die and they won't get respawned. So if they die in the dungeon, then they'll just be actually dead.
Oh yeah, it's also another thing that happens. Once they leave.
Are they connected to any of the weird abominations that Masks District seems to be making a ton of?
I don't know anything about that.
Well, this has been a lovely conversation. Do you have anything more, Matilda? Or
Thank you for your information. It's very helpful.
as he Vincent will look up at him. You're free to head back.
All right. Carson kind of just begrudgingly turns, and as he watches the individual pass by, they turn the corner, and they just look back for a second, give a nod, and then they begin to leave. Carson looks towards you and says, just gives you a nod like, I'm tailing him, right?
If you wish. I don't really know. Matilda, do you want to spend some time tracking this individual, or?
I would appreciate it. I'd like to know who they're talking with after, because they're probably going to go report back. And that's interesting that they mentioned half-elves, because the person that was being a complete ignorant asshat was a half-elf.
He'll just nod towards Carson then. Why don't we go find JoJo? I feel like she would be interested in this as well. Carson can keep tabs on him. Let us know.
Thanks for coming to check on me.
No problem, dear. Things got interesting. So it wasn't, it was well worth it.
I have more stuff to tell you. I just don't think this is the best place to do it.
Understood. Do you still have your sending stone to...
Yes, I used it though. I think isn't it 1 use a day?
I think it's 3 uses each. So.
Yeah. Do you let JoJo know that we'd like to meet up with her?
All right, I'll pull it out. JoJo, we want to meet up with you. Where are you?
I'm at the family home. Where should I meet you? Are you meeting me here?
Yes, stay there.
You guys turn the corner. As you make your way towards the outer area, you hear this kind of lute begin to just echo out through the chamber, an absolutely beautiful and serene sound, nearly effortless. Vincent, you are immediately aware
that this is not normal.
This is a ballad of the ages. But at the same time, you can tell that it's entirely improvised based on the chord progression. It echoes out just long enough to pass through your guys' ears and then fades as quickly as it came.
Can I try and turn in the direction I heard it from? See if I can see who's playing it.
Roll a natural 20 athletics check.
Athletics?
It'll just be dexterity, sorry.
Okay. I was
athletics
like, why is this athletics?
Try to.
I got a 12.
12? Cool. That is
more than half.
No, I got a 1.
You should have let me finish. Natural 20. 20. No, as you guys look up towards the roof,
I can't keep...
The sound fades as quickly as it came, and nothing accompanying it.
Yeah. Vincent has an understanding of who it might be, so he gives a little smirk and looks in the direction, and then he'll head home.
You guys hop in the carriage, and one of you drives.
The carriages, because one carriage.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there's
Farrell's
Vincent's and there's the other one.
Farrell's just like.
We can't leave. Vincent, you parked the carriage in the middle of the walkway. So
I didn't. Carson did.
Scary one.
Connect. Carson, can you split yourself, or do I have to deal with this?
One Carson will appear upon the carriage and begin to ferry you home. Farrellin looks over towards Matilda and says, Are you my carriage or that one?
Taking the one with you. I apologize for making you wait. I didn't realize I would be in there for so long.
Hey, that's my job. That's what I do. That's why you pay me. Hip hip. You get in. Carson sits on the other side and looks over towards them, and again just gives and just begins to move the carriage off to the side.
Hip hip.
Farrellin's like, ugh. The two of you make your way home. It takes a good hour or so. Jojo, you've kind of had a good time to get acquainted with this young enchanter in the time.
Does he play chess? You play chess?
I do, yeah, very well.
Great. We're playing chess when you guys get home.
Roll a dragon chess proficiency.
Doop doop doop. I roll dragon chess. Normal. I won't get the flumps up. 15.
He says, "You're good." And then as he pushes his rook into checkmate, kind of trapping you in with a pawn, he says, "But you're no dragon."
Fuck. Ooh. You know the dragon?
Oh, I've played him a few times.
Oh. Shit. Again.
At this point, the doorway opens, and you guys enter into the room. He looks over towards you, and he says, "Oh, that was 20 gold per game. Did we not agree to that?"
I don't think we agreed to that.
Well, then I don't get any money.
Hey, guys.
Hi. Matilda, this is, Bianca's wondering how you pronounce this again. Geely? Geely, yeah. This is Geely. He's a new member of our family.
Hi, Geely.
Hey, I'm an enchanter. Got the Ashfall right here. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of useless right now.
Well, I mean, it's true, but
Yeah.
pretty rude.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Good to have you.
Okay, I'm balanced. I'm back to the middle.
Well,
Nice to meet you
I'm
too.
here to make you a little bit more useful. I'll talk to Carmina about borrowing her Arcanist quarters.
I knew Carmina when she was knee high to a grasshopper. That one's
You
fun.
look 16 years old. How would you know them?
I have met
really
the-
good eyes. Like how? Like 16 or like 15 and change?
It's about 16 then.
About 16. Okay.
Your dad don't have any facial hair, so maybe 15 and change.
I have a feeling our first interaction was him trying to de-age me and de-age himself. So you've done this before, haven't you?
Yes.
Doesn't seem like a very equivalent exchange.
I mean, it's you subtract 2 and you add 2, so that's about as fucking equivalent as it gets, I'd say.
Well, wouldn't one person age?
No, they take age, and then whoa. Then he sits there and kind of stares off into the distance for a moment.
That's probably why it didn't work. Yeah, your math was off.
I mean, oh, wow. I mean, well, when you're young, it looks like you age like less, than when you're old, and then like a couple of years when you're like 60 doesn't make a huge difference. But a couple of years when you're like 10 and you're just like huge,
It's true.
I'd appreciate it if you didn't get any younger than you are now. Make things awkward.
It will probably will, but it's
Why?
purely experimental.
Oh, just fun.
Just to find out how like down it can go, and what the common effects are. I've noticed my speech pattern changed. That's fun. Yeah, I used to be
What are you?
me, human. Yeah.
So how old are you?
Vincent was gonna speak actually. One second. So what's that?
It's totally fine. I'm actually curious how old you are.
Oh, if you don't want to share, it's fine.
I don't know entirely yet. But my running hypothesis is that this spell can't bring me any lower than 14. But I also need a very powerful magical conduit to get it to work. But yeah, so once I hit 14, I can let you know. Probably
Hey,
14.
as an enchanter, can you dispel enchantments? So we've got a wards and bonds. What's that spell called?
We
Jojo
have
knows.
a spell preventing us from getting it into
Wards
apartments.
and guards spell that we want lifted.
Close. It was guards and wards.
Fuck.
Yeah,
So close.
but not wards and guards.
I don't know.
All guards are wards, but not all wards are guards, as they say. There's lots of ways to break an enchantment. But I'd have to see it. You have a wards and guards, do you? That's a pretty strong enchantment.
Well,
Yeah.
come here. Vincent will lead him over to the study.
It's on the door. I think it was on the inside of the door, wasn't it?
We want to make sure no damage happens to the home, so make sure you can study it. I think this should be your first little foray into family affairs.
Okay. Fuck the test, huh? I mean, I'm already a family member, so how about instead we just have dinner?
I mean, both. That sounds good. Yeah.
I mean, you can go get started.
Okay. All right. He moves in and grabs the door handle and pushes it open. Too late. None of you told him not to open the door.
I just told you it was on the door.
You said it's on the inside. He opens the doorway. Was not locked. The doorway, he places his hand on it, presses it down. Doorway swings open. I need everybody here
Oh no.
to wait a few moments.
I need confirmation. Is the study on the top floor or the bottom floor?
Second floor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
The locked
Okay.
study is on the second
Good.
floor. Let me take a gander. I will open up your guys'
I feel like it's on the bottom one. It was in the area that his mother and him were rooms
No,
were.
it's on the top floor.
I thought it was on the first.
Yeah, I did too.
But we'll find out soon.
We'll
I thought it
find
was
out
on-
in the next minute.
Next episode. Bye.
A half hour early. It just felt like a good place to stop.
I do think it's upstairs.
I disagree.
I feel like it's on the bottom as well.
There we go. Now I can bring you in. Bring this in here. Voodoo. Oh, no, that's the wrong one.
Because I constantly remember us being in like the foyer and then being like, let's go to the study. And then you being like, that's the locked one. And then having to go upstairs to the unlocked one.
There is a study on the second floor. I think you guys are either right or wrong in this moment. I made the map. I'm
like gonna see it?
80% sure it's the bottom one.
I'm just loading it in right now. The study is on the first floor.
Yeah.
Take that.
There's one on the second floor. Too,
There is one
There
on
is,
the
yeah.
second
That's
floor.
the Lavos' unlocked study.
Yeah.
As you guys go, you see the door handle grabbed, swing open, and as soon as you guys are like, no, you reach forward, you take note on the interior of the study. You see the doorway swings open, the glyph on the interior, you see light pour out from the backside of the doorway. Begins to fill the interior, slightly orangey red that turns into an azure blue.
Oh
In
no.
the area,
Oh no.
10 individual glyphs on the side wall ignite, and blue flame appears, flying in towards what seems like predestined locations of this room. As this all happens, you guys have but a brief moment to react. Here's the thing. As the flames hit various different spaces, I need you guys to go ahead and roll 3d10 for me.
Okay.
All of us rolled 3d10?
Any one of you or any three of you, like you guys can roll one each, basically. We'll just do that.
Oh yeah, let's all roll one.
These motes of flame fly in 10 different directions. You see 10 individual strikes of blue flame as these various different parts of the locked study in front of you just begin to ignite in flames. The blue pours outwards. Just one moment.
Oh, yeah.
You see on the interior of the study, it's 10 times more lavish than the rest of this mansion was. Now, everybody, roll initiative.
Oh, it rolled for me. That's fine.
I rolled a 7.
That's my initiative is 3, which I was like, what?
Matilda 15, Jojo 13, Vincent 7. So Matilda, you are the first to act. As this happens, you begin to rush forward. You see that the enchanter kind of dives backwards in his best attempt to not get blasted by whatever this is, and none of the motes go towards him. What do you do?
So nothing's going towards him right now.
Nothing. They all flew in and impacted into 10 different locations of this room.
I am, for my action, then I'm going to immediately scan the room to see the locations that all the motes went, and if I can determine anything because of that.
Roll investigation.
Because if he doesn't look damaged, Matilda's going to be like, you're fine. What's going on?
I think it's maybe the stuff in the room that we're trying to save, but I'm not sure.
Looking in.
Oh, can I guide myself or no? Too fast. Never mind. Sorry, too quick.
Well, it requires
Guidance would also be an action, so yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
You look into the room, but it just with the sudden flash of blue and the just widespread flame, it seems like this is like some kind of a carpet destruction of the area. With 10 flames, you ascertain that there's probably something more valuable than the rest, but you cannot discern any more than that. Jojo, what were you doing?
Jojo's going to quickly cast Control Flames and snuff out one of the motes. If there's one heading towards the desk, that's the one she chooses.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. There are 3 going towards the desk.
Okay.
I'll basically give you this. You may roll a d4 minus 1.
Oh no! 0.
You choose the mote that was heading towards kind of this small section of the desk. You look at it and immediately one flies in, streaks across the top, and begins to scatter some papers. One flies into the side and slams into the front of the desk and begins to ignite this like small desk drawer on the side, but one goes outside of your view, and it's just that moment before it leaves, you make the split decision to dissipate that one, and it flies off immediately.
Okay.
One of these 10 has been dispelled.
Part of me wants to do a magic surge just cuz. But I feel like there's nothing in my arsenal of magic surges that would help at all, so she's not gonna do that.
Okay.
What's the thing that allows you to like see magic items in the room called?
It's a magic awareness, but it is an action, so I've used that.
Vincent, you are up.
So it doesn't look like any of us are in danger. It's just about trying to save what's in the room.
The flames are beginning to spread throughout the room and are likely going to incinerate the contents. Whether they spread, very likely.
What is in the room?
Taking an immediate glance with your
Passive.
your passive floor doesn't even pick up very much. The blue flames are obscuring most everything. They're almost completely opaque. It was very fine, very expensive looking, like leather chair and various different accoutrements. But other than that, nothing now, just blue.
No one has the ringlets on them, right?
No. I guess I'll do this. Vincent is going to cast these motes that exploded. Do you think his prestidigitation would be enough to put them out, or would he have to use something like gust? Prestidigitation can put out a...
You could definitely target one of these with prestidigitation. Gust would likely target more than one because it's an area, yes?
It's a 5-foot cube, I think. Yeah.
One medium or smaller creature you 16. Yeah, so I think they both basically... Prestidigitation could target one individual mote. Gust could target 2 locations, but it would be, like, less. You have a chance of not getting either.
Okay. I'll do Gust, and I'll do it on, I guess I'll do where JoJo was going. I assume she knows what she's doing.
Targeting the desk?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like you to roll 2d4 minus... actually, just 2d4.
Can I pump a spell into it to make it a little bit more...
Gust is the spell currently. Is it a bonus action?
It's an action, but I mean a spell slot, like I did before. A little better. If you don't want me to, that's fine. I was just wondering.
I think if you burn a spell slot in this instance, you can add a -1 to one of those rolls. Your choice.
Okay, so two. So roll only one of them with a negative.
Yes.
Okay.
2. You target the 5-foot space that this desk is sitting in, and you begin to pull as this just central gust of wind tears through around it and up, dispersing both of the flames. The desk itself, now there are some charred ashes of papers that are flittering around the room, but that entire section is devoid of flame.
Cool.
There are 7 flames remaining.
And a quick and cast it again.
Bonus action? Okay.
I'll target... What else could be in it? Because I can't even see anything in the study. It's just flames. So I know that there was a desk there. Is there another is there like a bulletin board? Is there a safe? Or does it look like there's silhouettes in there, or is it just an empty, just all fire?
They opened up the door. With your passive, you did manage to see the interior briefly. I'll just go ahead and review this so I can give you a more accurate rendition. As you are looking in, staring in, you see that 3 of these motes seemed to go towards the desk. There was a chair in the background. One of the motes targeted that. There were several paintings on the walls. The motes had targeted those as well. And then several of them were going towards like corners of the room that were outside of your guys' view from the doorway.
I'll target the paintings. Second one.
The 5-foot area would only target one of these paintings in this instance, though.
Okay, I'll target the larger painting then.
Okay.
So same thing again, and I'm gonna burn. Is there only one mode on it? Like I would need to burn a spell slot for this.
You burn the spell slot to make it so that it's more effective.
Okay. Same thing as last time. That's a 0. And that's a 4.
As you target the rear side, one of the flames is kind of dashed against the side, but the other is just kind of emboldened by the air that pushes across it, and does not directly target it enough in this vortex to remove it from the equation. That erupts. At the end of this round, I will actually give you this. Jojo, roll one more d4.
One.
In front of the desk was the chair as well. That chair, the flame had been snuffed out from it.
Okay.
At the end of this round, the flames embolden to the point where the room itself begins to grow frigidly cold. As the flames hit this kind of just central, consistent opacity, you look in and you just see a wall of blue. There is like virtually nothing else before you. And after just a few brief moments of seeing this incineration go from spark to flame to just eruption, it glitters out. The entire room is left somewhat in tatters, save for a small section of, there's a painting in the rear near a window, and a small few books in the back. And you guys get a better view of the entire study itself. Previously, bookshelves from the ground to about 5 feet high. There was a fine desk to the right of the doorway and a chair behind it. Desk and chair are still intact. Small section of doorway at the rear, still intact. But as everyone's kind of looking out over everything that's currently happening here, the rest of it is just ash.
Jojo like picks up the kid. Well, I guess we don't need you to.
Enchanter achieved. Dinner now?
And the books.
Didn't make out what you said.
You emulated all the books.
I mean, I wouldn't make me pay for all this. That'd be,
He'll be getting the bill, dear.
Could you just go in and do a magic awareness on what's not destroyed?
You enter in, and you begin to look about. You sense no magic within the area whatsoever. Save for you guys. There's not like a strange absence of magic, but what you would expect there to be magical is, and there is nothing that you have not noticed already.
Okay.
Scanning over the room, the contents that were saved, like the desk, the chair, the small bookshelf, and the painting. Is there anything like obviously on them, or that we can see? Maybe a portrait on the painting, or a book that stands out.
As you glance around, go ahead and roll perception.
I helped Vincent.
Mm-hmm. You may roll with advantage.
19.
You begin to look at the desk. You begin to look at the painting. The painting itself is of the young Prince of Amaranth, Broderick Edelweiss. He is standing, looking incredibly victorious, like astride a horse holding a polo kind of just mallet. And as you begin to glance around, you can tell that this thing doesn't seem to have any intrinsic value. The books that remain seem to be books on just finance, books on books of history, various different tomes, but not too much survived the immolation. When you glance over the desk, you find one locked desk drawer towards the inner side that had been previously targeted by a mote of flame, and a book that is sat atop the desk that was previously targeted by the first one that Jojo removed. Actually, not atop the desk, sorry, but dashed from the top of the desk and sat on the ground. A mote seems to have been homing in on this book and was taken out of the equation.
Did I pick up that book?
You grab it, you and Vincent kind of pour over it at the same moment as you lift it up. It's just a small, leather-bound tome, seemingly innocuous. But as you look at it and you open it up, it reads, trade...
Diary.
Dear Diary. No, it says, trade and personal expenses. B.E.
B.E.
Roderick. Edelweiss.
Edelweiss.
I think they found Roderick's old study.
Personal expenses, huh?
You pop it open. Like one of the, like you see that a lot of the front pages are empty. You pop to like the back of the book and you can see that he actually writes from the back of the book to the front. And then in the rear of the pages, you can see like exorbitant amounts of money. 12,300 gold pieces made out to Talarian Fisher. Story of Broderick Edelweiss. The next one is like like $3,200 payable to, or 3,200 gold pieces payable to the family of Gond, which alone is just having these ties to various different families when you yourself have a vested political interest is signs that something fucked is going on here.
Killian, dear. Vincent's gonna yell out.
Killian arrives.
Do you mind trying to pick this desk?
Oh, sure. Killian just approaches. Let me go pop that in.
Vincent will inspire her.
How do I do a tool check? I'll just add proficiency.
Yeah, you just add proficiency to it and you roll the skill of your choice.
The desk pops open. You see on the interior of the desk, a blue sigil ignites. The inside of the desk immediately begins to...
We put it out.
I would have you the two of you roll dexterity, but you are already on the ball. As the fucking wind and shit just tears through, the flames themselves just diminish and then flitter out. Nothing problematic happens. Killian kind of like jumps back for a brief moment. But looking on the interior of it, you find two sigils. One of which, a bladed sun atop an upturned porcelain hand. The other sigil is a sigil of Delirian Order. Two crossed blades. You also find... Actually, sorry, let me actually get Delirian Order sigils. But before that, you also find one thing that takes your interest, Jojo.
Huh?
It is the sigil of the Rift Hunters Guild.
Huh.
A stone, like flattened out into a circle that just has slashes across it, revealing this like brilliant silver color underneath, and it is coated in dried blood.
Oh, shit.
And those are the three things within the desk.
Interesting.
That makes much sense if they're all working together.
Well, of course, the family knows about what's going on in the city. They should if they're really good at what they do. I'll let you guys pour over this. I'm gonna go see if my mother's okay.
This symbol for the Rift Hunters Guild, would it be for Reaper? Is that what the silver is for?
When you look at the sigils, as far as you understand, you've seen people with these. The higher rank they are, the more slashes they have across the surface of the stone, revealing the silver underneath. This one has 4 slashes.
Okay.
Which would be relatively high. 4 slashes within the guild is a chaser. Someone who typically works with people below them and reapers in order to kind of like head out into the outer areas of the city and go on expeditions.
Okay.
During the break, somebody asked what color Ashbond, the young enchanter, is. He is most definitely. He's actually he's a silver blue bond.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought for sure he'd be an opal with his crazy, whatchamacallits. Crazy antics.
He kind of like leans back as the rest of the room begins to immolate. It ignites in flame and then dissipates. You all manage to gather up these sigils. The sigil of the Lyrian Order being a downward-facing glass blade crossed over two halves of a broken shield. Typically, the ones that you had before were on a green background, but this one's just made of like this bronze that is across the entire sigil. These kind of like coats of arms. You guys know color plays a lot of like value into them. So this one not having that color it either means that this one is special or it's not like particularly. It might be insulting even. But he has that. He has the sigil. There was the sigil of the porcelain hand holding a bladed sun above, and there was a sigil of Altisha, which is simply the bladed sun.
And the Rift Hunters.
And yes. And there is the sigil of the Rift Hunters Guild, which is, well, not a sigil so much as a actual it's like a dog tag. Yeah. It's what you use to identify yourself.
It's like they had someone in the Rift Hunters killed for some reason.
Maybe it was Broderick's.
Well, it's covered in dry blood. I'm pretty sure whoever this used to be died. Also, I think people would know if the prince of the city was in the Rift Hunters.
I'll
do you guys mind if I bring this to them and ask them about it?
Yes, because they might take it from you.
Vincent pauses at the door and
I can make it a
royal family.
No, I meant the Rift Hunters.
I can draw you a picture of it.
I can make an illusion.
I have some stuff I need to tell you that I really don't think you should be taking this to the Rift Hunters Guild.
Okay.
Dad! Yell for Lavos.
You yell out "Dad," and Lavos begins to move forward. Vincent, you make your way towards the back room as they were, Matilda and Jojo were pontificating. And as you hear Dad called out behind you, the doorway at the front opens, and Lavos opens it up wearing like a very fine-looking suit, the best one that he has. The young Geely begins to move out and is like, "Ooh, doorway opened. That's interesting." Begins to leave what you guys are doing towards the front, and you spot entering into the living room a familiar-looking noble. Esteban Leteri kind of pokes his head in and begins to look around. You've spotted him, he has not spotted you. And Lavos says, "Welcome to the abode, young one. I am the god of the family, so you will have to treat me with the utmost respect."
Is Jojo just close the door?
Yeah.
Vincent subtly casts awe on himself and is going as soon as trying to get this man's attention.
Who's this idiot? I say when the door's shut. Who's this?
So the door closes and then you say that, or
well, no,
I figured
she closed the door like right away.
Was it behind us or like in front of us?
I figured that we are not in the office.
I thought you were in there. Okay.
Okay, just
out in the hall then.
To get an idea, you have like the central room, which has the couch and the table and the piano, and then there's a little side room, which is like a sitting room, and then there's the office. Vincent, you left the office, went towards the central room, and then Jojo and Matilda, you're in the side room.
Jojo closes the door to the office and goes to join Vincent.
Okay.
If I think that they can hear me, I won't say that. I was thinking that
it's a very small house. I feel like they could definitely hear that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if I feel like they would have heard me, I didn't say it. But that's what I thought, that she shut the door in front of us.
Very small mansion.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody enters into the central room, and you see that Geely looks onward and is just like, "Ooh, not for me." And he turns and he just leaves the room towards the kitchen. He's like, Madazenia! What?
And he made himself at home pretty quick.
I told him the names. You see that as Lavos brings Esteban forward, he is a... Hello. It's... I'm very excited you all accepted my... my invitation, but I suppose request to an invitation? You have a very fine home here. Excellent. For rather a new development, as I can see. Lavos is like, you have an eye for work, don't you?
Well, thank you for coming to my request. Why don't you come into the dining room? Let's sit down.
Certainly, of course. As the two of you move to the dining room, you can see Geely sitting there just like waiting for whatever food. And then as you enter in, he's like, what's that guy supposed to do? And he turns and leaves the room. You guys sit down within the table. He says, have I offended your son?
Did he say that towards Vincent?
He says it out loud and is kind of looking back and forth towards everyone before eventually settling on Matilda and being like, probably.
No, he's our idiot. Don't worry about it.
It's just family affairs. Worry not.
Every family has one, I suppose. At least. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak with you.
Well,
yes.
I was going to say it's good to see you in good health after what happened earlier.
I'm at a loss as to whether or not we should be talking about that. There seems to be quite a stir regarding the events, though it does not seem as though the, let's say, roster who was to be there has been made public, which I suppose count our blessings. Another scandal would be unfortunate.
Another one?
Oh, there are several going on. Which are you interested in? But I'm referring, of course, to the one surrounding my family.
You with the DuPonts?
No.
That's the only scandal I've heard of. I'm not much of a gossip. I don't.
Oh, you must exist around the mill to survive in certain circles. But I'm afraid I'm rather a gossip hog myself, so guilty.
Let's hear it.
I want to come clean, as clean as possible, and I really want to. Nice home, by the way. I like the plants. Then one of the plants gets up and moves, and he's like, straight to the chase. My name's Esteban Leteri. It's nice to meet you. I saw your performance, Vincent, and that young Harai Zephyr. And I was moved to tears. I think you and I can help each other. And all of you, the whole family, whole shebang, I'm certain of it. But if you're unfamiliar with rumors, let me fill you in a little bit. My forebear, so to speak. She was in a bit of dealing. You see. Our family.
What's a forebear?
He's referring to just like someone who is like his mother, his father, an ancestor of some kind. Yeah.
Okay.
But that can go literally as close to his mother, his father.
But as far back as any of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our family was somewhat prominent, you see. But in recent years, my mother has found herself in somewhat of a sticky wicket, I suppose. She has been found to have been associated with the movement of people from Asaria to Amaranth, and was working with one Shiana Stormdaughter in the event of that. That has been troublesome to the family, to say the least.
Oh, has it?
It has been. I assure you, I knew nothing of anything that was going on there. In fact, it's somewhat of a point of contention for me that I remained so willfully ignorant.
What do you know of it now?
As far as I can tell, it's being dismantled. My mother has been shamed, and I have been made the leader of a family that is smoldering in ashes.
believe him when he said he had no idea?
You may roll insight.
During this conversation, like people are asking questions when he turns and stuff like that. Vincent's gonna reach into his pocket and just kind of like fiddle with a copper coin. At some point, I'd like to subtly cast the detect thoughts.
Okay. And Matilda, what was your roll? 19. He seems to be genuine. The things he's bringing up, you can tell like there's some actual shame in his voice and like some discomfort of discussing these matters, but is openly doing so. And he doesn't seem to have known what was going on in the past. Says, my mother, Greya, was a Viscountess in Reston. But when we were outed in the investigation and recent assassination attempts, sorry about that.
Okay, so Vincent does know that he does. With my detect thoughts up, now I'm going to focus on him and his surface thoughts a little bit.
He's thinking. His immediate thoughts are that of the potential gain of this relationship. His mind is literally like, I have nothing left to lose in this. If it doesn't kill me, will make me stronger.
He doesn't seem like he's lying or keeping information. He's just desperate.
Doesn't seem like it. Incredibly desperate.
Is your mom also with Umberly?
We were not. The family did not have ties to the gods of the city. She should not have been bound, but I would not be surprised if she was, I suppose.
I'm assuming she's been apprehended of some sort, or did she flee?
She has been taken, as far as I understand, into the city in one of the courts, but they're not sharing what information they have about her. The businesses were ruined. And by being involved in such heinous situations, all of that funding was also cut off, and that became adamantly clear about where the money was really coming from. She was removed from power, and quite frankly, if I'm being honest, it seems like her connections are going to make her deemed innocent. As far as I can tell, the noble families like to stick together and don't like such a smudge on their record sent officially.
And how do you feel about that?
I think if she were to be released in full, she would resume control of the family. And that's not in anyone's best interests.
Not your own, I assume, too.
Nor my father's. At least it wouldn't have been before his death.
Recent?
Quite recent.
Quite suspicious.
Detect thoughts, is it still up for this minute?
You can tell, yeah, for sure. You can tell that now in his mind he's angry, viscerally.
How did he die? Did you get an autopsy?
His mind immediately goes to, well, there was no proof, and then his voice follows with, well, there was no proof of anything, but we had an embalmer take a look upon the body. It was rather the expense, so it wasn't top grade. But no, there seemed to be deemed no foul play. In his mind, he just says, bullshit.
Who paid for the embalmer? Or who arranged that?
The estate, of course.
Who runs
Which
the
was
estate?
owned by your mother.
It was run by my mother's lawyers. Yes.
Oh, yeah. You always need to third party that shit if something's going hinky, because you can falsify and add things. And
Easier said than done, Matilda, but you don't have the money to do so.
But this
And what
brings
if the
me to
body
my
now?
request. This brings me to my request. Vincent, and this whole family, I really see there's a lot in the future here. And with my connections, and I still my family still holds some prominence in Helianth and Dianthus, in the surrounding areas. We've been very charitable to the nearby colonies. And our own domain, of course. If I don't have any particular plans right now, but I know if we can attach ourselves to each other, my noble rank can help you. and your prolific nature, this prodigious music and these arts that you play, we can grow to prominence once more. And if I have that prominence behind my name, my mother will not have a foot to stand on when she inevitably leaves her confinement.
Vincent will put his hand up a little bit. Just to confirm we're on the same page here. Are you insinuating what I think you're insinuating?
In his mind, he's confused, and then out loud he says, "I'm confused. Are we? You tell me, and then I'll respond."
I wouldn't want to be forward. It could offend you, so.
I don't think he wants us to kill his mother. I think he wants us to be associated with each other.
That's not what I meant to, Matilda.
Oh.
You mean marriage?
No.
No.
You already have a son, so.
It's not my son, but thank you.
Too young for a kid that old.
That exhausts all of my mental energy.
It's fine. Forget I said anything.
Oh, but now I'm so incredibly curious.
Then you will remain so. What I would like to ask is, what sort of agreement? Obviously, your noble status could open doors for us. But what would you need in return from me?
I want to become, in a way, interconnected with this family. I have connections outside, as previously said, and I also have connections into the Divine Cadence Bards College of Heliance. In some time, perhaps, maybe we could even journey there and we could see just the state of the city of the arts in its flourishing beauty. Because I think if we can break out there, then fame and fortune will grow and abound. And all I want is to be the patron behind the future of music and the arts in Amaranth.
It sounds to me like you're offering to finance that, but aren't you? You're saying that all the businesses are dried up. So what are you actually bringing to this table?
It's going to take some time, but I can always gather things like finances and here's the thing. And he smiles. And probably at this point, your detect thoughts would go down.
Mm.
He says, I don't have very much. And it's almost as though what I'm offering here is a partnership. Kind of a quid pro quo. I have status, and I have a name. And you have... Well, you're up and coming. You have a future, of which I have none. I want to borrow a bit of that future, and I want to lend you a bit of my status.
So in exchange for your connections and your title, you wish to partner together?
Exactly.
He'll turn and just gauge everyone's responses. He can kind of see that JoJo's already bored of this.
JoJo's not only bored, she's just what a fucking asshole, idiot, piece of shit. Her disdain for nobility, and this guy's really all I have to give is my nobility, and she's like, fuck that, I don't want your fucking nobility.
Matilda's got a calculated look on her face.
I'm gonna roll insight for him.
I don't think JoJo's hiding anything.
No, her face is really
Vincent's kind of a blank slate right now. He's just kind of assessing him.
The look on his face is that this is all going quite well.
Matilda's looking at him like he's a piece of meat at the butcher shop. How much can I get out of this hunk of flesh?
Yeah.
How much is this worth?
What's the value of this thing? Yeah.
How much influence could you have on this trial if you wanted to testify against your mother?
A fair bit, I think, especially, there was a recent upstart investigator who solved a mystery, something or other, some assassinations in the city that have been going on, and I have him under my belt. as someone who could potentially investigate for just, a share of whatever might be gained at the other end. But he's taken into the case, and he's going to try and dig up something on my mother. Depending on that, I do have access to the courts, and of course I have access to the noble family, the noble courts, royal courts. I can speak to the upper echelons of the city on behalf of various different... I could get you in, so to speak.
Vincent will mentally connect, or he'll look towards Estevan. Do you mind if we have a couple moments to just speak as a family?
Yes, of course. Here, is there a location you would like me to wait? I could just travel to the sitting room.
He'll look towards, actually, what's her butler's name? Like, not Carson, but the other.
Jeremis?
Jeremis, dear.
Comes out from the kitchen. Yes, how can I help you?
Can you please escort our guests to the sitting area? Maybe get them some beverages?
Of course, young master. Here, come. Follow me. I will get you imbibements. And he begins to lead the individual out. Esteban's like, Jeremis, that's a very interesting name. He says, I don't personally think so. And the two of them leave your line of hearing.
After the door closes and a couple seconds pass, Vincent will just turn to them. Well, thank you for putting up with that, Jojo. And Matilda, you didn't look quite as impressed either, but...
As much as I'm not impressed by them as a person, it doesn't mean that I don't see the value of being associated with them. I think that if they were to take a stance against their mother, then that's the only reason I would want to associate with them. I've already gotten myself as a reputation for standing against people harming Dungeonborn, so I don't think aligning ourselves with someone that's pro slave trade is great. So if he would be like, this, my mom is bad and she did a bad thing, and testified in court, then I would be okay with associating with him. But otherwise, no.
Based on he'll lean in mental insights into him. He seems to be genuine. He's not necessarily in agreement with what his mother did.
Yeah, so I say if he does that, then that's fine. We can affiliate each other. I like the idea that he's going to have an ear in a room for conversations that we might never hear ourselves. And then that's important information to know, especially with all the stuff that I'm seeing is happening that apparently this goes all the way up to the royalty of Amaranth, because we just found a bunch of symbols and shit inside the office of what's his nut. So having an ear in those circles would be good. And then hopefully if he testifies against his mother, it'll remove some of the shame, so he'll have more reputation, and then he won't be so like it won't be so bad to associate with him.
I also don't know if he's insinuating that he wishes to be bound to the family, or just that we're friends. Associated.
I think he kind of wants to be like your band manager or something, where he wants to promote you.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like a leash, but one that might be useful, possibly. Like I mean, it's not very surprising to you guys. I don't like him. But I am concerned about the flooding in the Whitewater Key, and I think the trial with his mom has like everything to do with that. Not that I don't think that doing a good job persecuting Umberlee is gonna make it stop flooding.
I'm not so much wanting him to testify against Umberlee, just the fact that she did something bad so he can gain better reputation, so therefore it's more fortuitous for us to have this relationship. Right now, no. I don't want our family associated with a family that's like, woo, selling people's great, which is what they think right now.
I think that depends on perspective. If he has an ear and a voice inside the court still, he's speaking in his defense. And once he speaks up against his mother, it'll be obvious what side he's on.
If he did, he wouldn't be coming to us for help.
I think he's more coming to us in hopes to speed up some things. And obviously, with my presence there, it'll draw attention, is what he's hoping.
I don't trust somebody else that doesn't seem that bright, so I think whatever you want to do, Vincent, I'm fine with.
Yeah, I don't trust
I wanted
somebody.
to get your insight first, but
Seems easy to control and leash.
yes, I think we should go along with this. We can always break it at any point and deal with him. I'll let you guys know. It seems more like he wants to be acquainted to the family. I'm just more the...
He was saying that to be polite. He wants to be acquainted with you. Our family, I learned today, does not have a very great reputation, and neither do none of us. And that's, well, yes and no. So that's what, there's some things I need to talk to you about. So when he comes in here being your reputation and being associated with you, all I could smell was bullshit. He just wants
to ride your coattails. We don't run in the crowds he's interested in.
Yeah.
But you do.
Well, to be honest, Jojo, I don't think you want to.
No, I don't.
Well, I appreciate everything, and we'll use this insight. And Vincent will stand up from the table. Let's see where this goes. And he'll walk outside, basically, to the sitting room.
As you reach the sitting room, you find that there's a statue of Lavos, and it's just like utterly just jacked, standing one leg up on a stone, and like the rest is just this gigantic splash of water. It's fully carved out of one chunk of wood. Yeah, one leg up, standing like staring off into the distance. It's just like, anyway, that's how I saved the entire boat. So Esteban's like, fascinating. How did you manage to get the currents in your favor? He's like, oh, I didn't. I just swam. He's like, against the water? Oh, yeah, every time. It's the only way to get better. Hi, Vincent. Your father? Your father was just letting me in on a fascinating tale. He's like, I'll leave you two kids alone. He approaches and says, the deliberations were rather fast. That's fantastic. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Not right now. I can see prospects in this partnership between us. I'm willing to see where it goes, but Vincent will kind of eye him up and down, almost like a little bit intimidatingly. Know that titles don't mean much to me. Your worth is more what I want to see.
I hope to prove myself. I also know that your family does extensive work with the Dungeonborn. I've heard rumblings and rumors of a connection with a group known as the Windward. And aside from that, I think I can offer my aid there as well. I can be an advocate. Connecting myself with your family, as I understand, also connects me with goblins and kobolds, was it?
Lizeldin, let them as well.
Oh, I've never heard of that race of people.
Parker,
you just hear like the second floor, and then he kind of like reaches the sitting room and looks over at the guy, and then just like places a hand on the wall and begins to climb up to the corner, staring at him. Hello. Parker's like, hi.
This is our guest.
Hi, guest.
He'll mentally connect. There's no reason to be this suspicious, you realize.
He's the suspicious one. I don't know. Oh, hi, mine, Vincent. I don't know what he's thinking. I've never seen him before.
He wishes to work with the family. He wants to help you.
Oh, he's family.
He just begins to like pull himself down, and he approaches and he just grabs his hand and begins to shake it.
He's like, my name's Parker. I'll protect you from all the opportunities.
Thank you. Looks towards Vincent like, what is that? He's like,
okay, bye. I left my children alone.
And he turns and runs up the stairs.
As Parker leaves, that is a Lizeldin.
They're something else, certainly.
Yes, they're quite adorable.
I have an uncomfortable need to protect him. Is that normal?
It is.
Okay. Anyway, I'd be happy to. I'm ecstatic. Sincerely.
I have a quick question in regards to the Dungeonborn. I know a lot of the Inner Circle nobility might not necessarily agree with them. Your views may cause conflict among your own circles.
Now see, that's the fun thing, is that I'm hoping so. I lived by something my father used to tell me. We've never really been, high-end nobility, so to speak. I myself am just a Viscount. And only recently moved up. But we care about our people. And my father used to say that we were at the base of a cliff surrounded by water, calling up to the nobles above us. But willful or not, they can't hear us. So we have to climb. With the waves crashing against your back, you need to make some of your own to hit the heights. So that's what I want to do. Let's be seen. Let's change some things, because that always draws the eye, doesn't it?
I think after he says this, it's the first kind of like crack in Vincent's facade, and he'll give him a little smirk. Now that's what I like to hear. And I hold out a hand for a handshake.
He just takes it. By the time you reach the full handshake, he's there, grabs onto the hand and gives it a hard shake and says, "Good." To be honest, I was very nervous coming here. I'm a big fan.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm sure I can make sure that the world knows who you are and the whole family.
Well, we'll keep in touch and let me know what you need, the next steps. And if anything comes up within the city. Us being adventurers, we might not be available as often as you would hope. Dungeon and all.
I understand completely. In fact, I need to return to Reston for a time just to handle some affairs back home and make a few things a bit more official. I have a man in the city. Here, let me give you his card. And he hands you a business card. He says, "This is the private investigator that I was mentioning before. He knows how to reach me. Or if you like, you can always send a carrier pigeon to Reston. And I will return post-haste if anything is of the essence. You won't regret this." And he turns and begins to make his way towards the door, opens it, and Lavos is standing there, and he's like, "Yeah, we better fucking know." Then he just opens the second door, and he says, "There's no need to swear, good sir." He's like, "I told you already, I'm not one of you highfalutin types. I swear when I swear." A respectable, but ill-advised stance. And then the doorway closes behind. He turns around and looks at you, Vincent, and he's like, "Yeah, I like him. He seems genuine. He's the underdog type, and he don't seem evil, so..." Well, evil against us, at least.
Vincent just touches his nose. Goes back into or goes and opens the door to the other room. You guys are free to go. He's gone.
Wasn't Alexi coming?
Alexi? Probably after dinner.
Okay.
Oh, hold on a second. You see Vincent, like, his eyes kind of like glaze over a little bit, and then he comes back. He's gonna ask Carson how his investigation following that man has been.
He says, the other me is actually on their way back. They had traveled to the top left? No, I'm sorry. What was it called? It's getting a little bit hazy. There we go. He was at the northern end of Storm's End. Nearby what amounts to a old, disused lighthouse. There is a...
Underwater?
Over here, this is like highly raised.
Oh, okay.
The area that's underwater is this pretty much whole section over here.
Okay.
And this whole section of the Whitewater Quay.
Yeah, Umberlee's district, basically.
In essence, but Thor's district has also been somewhat hit by it, which is, as you imagine, probably a problem. But he points out the top of Storm's End. This area is on a raised cliff. Matilda, you are fully aware of the Storm's End area, because it's where you guys go grave robbing. But he says, in Storm's End, they approached a small shack, this one to be precise, and as they placed their hand upon the side wall using that red powder, and pushed their way in. I don't know if the powder is required or not, but this seems to be some kind of a hideout for this Red Hand group.
Okay, come back. I'll relay the information.
I'm almost home. See you shortly.
And then only in like a second or two, his eyes kind of like snap towards you guys. It seems Carson has finished tracking our new friend Matilda. They're in I just forgot what it was called, Adrian.
Storm's End.
They're in the Storm's End area near like a shed or something.
I kind of know Storm's End a little bit. What else is around there?
Well, they placed their hand and did like the powder thing on the wall, and it led to a secret entrance into an area. He didn't go past that. There's like a lighthouse nearby, overlooking a cliff.
Oh, does Matilda immediately recognize the lighthouse? Yeah.
You immediately know the general area.
Oh, yeah. I know that area. We used to go picnicking there every Sunday night, very late at night.
Must have been lovely doing it by lighthouse light.
That's what candles are for. But, what did they agree to do?
What do you mean? He gave us the location. We could go.
No, not Carson. Stupid.
Esteban.
Oh,
yeah,
Esteban. I agreed to give him a chance, so we'll see where it goes. He's heading back to his city outside of Amaranth, but he gave me this, and gesture to the business card, to the private investigator. We need to get
name on it.
With him. He'll pass it over.
That's what I was afraid you would ask. I started trying to find it, and then I stopped doing that thing.
No. Why does part of me feel like this is just a mirror?
I feel like it might be her. But who knows? It fits her MO. She also assassinates and then finds the assassins. It's a good cover.
I mean, it's a way for them to be still involved in this trial.
I have the picture of the guy, but I cannot find his name. That's fun, isn't it? Oh, wait. The name would be on the picture. God, I'm smart. God, I'm so good at this.
I can't wait for them to show up and then Jojo just be like, "Oh, you came dressed like that?" And then
you trying to get some personality out of me because it's working.
But
the name is. I'm sorry. The name is Desmond Fairweather.
I've heard this name before.
Are you sure?
He's also said he's quite interested in helping the Dungeonborn. He appears to be pretty sincere about that. He said he has means and wants to invest in the what was the guild that Bean showed us towards? The Waywind?
Yeah.
Windward?
Windward.
Yes, he has connections and he's going to assist them.
So here's the thing. Dad! I call for Laos.
It's my beloved child. He comes in from the side door.
Can you do a weird god thing that makes it so that other people can't hear what we're talking about?
If you all want to go to sleep briefly, I can have us all in kind of like a dream space. And we can also mess with it. It's pretty fun. It's something I've recently been able to do. Yeah.
Who will keep watch of us? Just in case.
I never actually sleep. Yeah.
Austin's not quite here, dear.
Never, Matilda.
You
Well-
can sleep though, right? You just don't.
Let's
He wait-
give it a try.
He waves a hand over you. Does your feature make you immune to the sleep condition? Like,
think so,
can
no.
magical spells can still put you to sleep?
Yes.
If
Or
one
not
of us
feature, but
was an elf, then
invocation.
we'd be fucked. But
No, you
So I
just
just,
have
like-
oh yeah, you can't be put to sleep by magical means.
Do I just like conk out on the floor?
He basically
I-
like waves a hand in front of your face, and you're just like, if that's what you do. You're currently on a chair, so like expecting you to fall back, Lavos waves his hand over your face, and you're just like, boom, to the side immediately. He reaches a hand over and just kind of catches you though and places you in the seat.
Vincent will take a seat so he doesn't fall over. Well, let's get this over with. Alexi's gonna show up later, and I'd like some food.
The three of you, one by one, enter into the dream space. But basically, you fall asleep and you open your eyes, and you're like back in this room, except the joists and the buttresses and the trim are gorgeous. Incredibly ornate with brilliant flourish, and you can see just these little finishings
So I'm
all over the
assuming
place.
this is what you're proposing the upgrades will look like.
Hey, something like that. But you know, it's a start. This is quite nice, but you know, full wood paneling along the walls, you know. But we
gonna
can
try and
manipulate
teleport.
this. Yeah, don't do that.
Possibly.
You whoop, disappear, and you appear on the other side of the room. Oh, good.
I feel like I need to practice that more.
Yeah, let's make the room a little bit bigger. And he just pushes the walls, and they expand.
Enough for
But, I mean-
modeling! Now why we're here?
Right.
Sorry, Vincent. Do what you need to do.
I was just gonna say, I wonder what this is, considering it doesn't have anything to do about the god you spoke with earlier today.
Yes. So, I went to the open forums, and when I was there was lots of conversations going on, and then I ran into one that was talking about not creating higher walls in the city to block out people out. We needed to focus on the dungeon-born problem inside the city, and it was getting really racist and terrible. So I hopped in and was like, "No, it's terrible! Don't talk like that!" And then all of a sudden, fuck, what's his name?
Agma.
Agma just shows up and like makes everybody leave, and we go have a conversation and we talk about some things, and he wanted to exchange information, but I said that I would only exchange all of my information if I talked to you first, and also if he was willing to vouch for you, Lavos, because you have that thing coming up. So I thought I'd take it as an opportunity for that. He didn't really want to put his reputation on the line for us, because apparently we have a really shitty reputation as individuals. You mentioned that you set fire to something at a library.
I didn't.
Yeah, but he also mentioned that no one cares that you didn't do it. It's just the fact that people think
I
that you
know.
did. Yeah, and then he mentioned about me and my history with the forest school, and then he talked about you, Vincent, and the fact that you got a shit ton of baggage. So he said that we collectively, there's a lot of whispering going on, and it's not really good whispering.
So Agma just came out to like throw shade. Is that?
No, he was being honest, because I asked for a vouch, and he was like, "This is kind of why I don't want to."
Okay.
And he also alluded to the fact that he knows that we know a lot of stuff about what happened down south.
Well, he's the god of knowledge.
Yeah. But we also talked about because Dungeonborn, because I wanted to know if anyone knew about them going missing. And then he gave me some information saying that there's 3 gods that are working together that are responsible for what's happening. And then
I just want confirmation on one thing.
yes.
Agma said he wasn't agreeing to work with our family because I got skeletons in my closet, and Jojo did not. He knows he's a god of knowledge. Did not set fire to something that people are saying she did. This is to do about us specifically, and not about the family's reputation.
Well, also too, they said we have to be careful because of what we're aligning ourselves with. It's making people not want to, because we're making a big stink about the Dungeonborn and being on their side.
Well, To a degree, I would say yes. You and Killian are making quite a big movement on that. It's going to shake face across certain circles, of course.
I think it wasn't a no, but it wasn't a yes. It was kind of like in the middle. I actually kind of berated Agma a little bit, saying that you're making these assumptions when you haven't even met them, and that the ones that were about me are ones that I chose to do. So if you want to have that feeling about me, that's fine. But you two, you didn't. That wasn't your fault. It was about people's perceptions of you. But yeah, I don't think it's a no. I think it's a wait and see. Oh man, Adrian, we talked about so much. What did he say that we had to do in order for us to work together?
He kind of just said make waves. He wanted you guys to establish yourselves.
More?
Because he likes the direction you guys are going, and he's interested in everything that like you guys has been happening around you. He seemed pretty much aware of just about everything. Been it's almost seems to pique his interest.
I feel like Vincent's just gonna be like, it's interesting you were talking about that, Matilda. He is the god of knowledge. I don't know how suppressed your powers are since you took mortal form and you kind of look towards Lavos. But if he's retained most of that portion, I don't think you can make any assumptions. He knows everything.
Oh, I can speak to that a little bit, though. The god, I lost a lot of my fucking power. I'll say that much. I used to be able to kind of just exist within a state of kind of just physical consciousness, if that makes sense. I could kind of just be, but now I am just am. I used to be able to travel through dreams like walking a street. I used to be able to, I used to be
Well, that's
toned as well, really fit.
Like that's the thing though, is that he doesn't know a lot about Lavos because there's not a lot out there. So he even told me himself he doesn't know very much about him. So we have that over. I told them that it doesn't help that Lavos doesn't remember, but we have that information that he doesn't have that he wants.
Well, if he wants us to make waves, we can do that. The only issue I can foresee is, depending on which direction, my waves tend to be ones people enjoy. My music and my businesses are going well, but the Dungeonborn thing is going to come with pushback from other ends.
Well, here's the thing, though, with all the information that we have, we know that 3 gods are connected to this. We know that it goes as high as the royal family of Amaranth, apparently. We know that the Lyrian Order is involved in this, and now kind of the Rift Hunters. And
the Rift Hunters, based on what we found, it seems like they might have been a victim.
Also, too, though, if you look at it, there's what's happening is they're taking what we learned from the Tiefling was that they're going and they're taking people out of the dungeon every night, taking them to the interface office, and then bringing them back into the dungeon, like, very quickly. They're not keeping them for a very long time. We also know that there's these people that are now getting these weird vile things to control and make weird, creepy versions of these other, like, these mutant things with, like, the monsters and also the Fae.
That seems to not be connected. Tale didn't know anything about it. I don't think Marcus is necessarily connected, at least directly, to what is going on with the cycling. Though it could be connected in a different way, but...
Was the drug that the people from the orchard were using, was that what they call euphoria? Like, that was what was on, and then, like, in the dream world, the paper shows up with the writing. With the, in the auction, they have euphoria as part of the sale. I feel like Marcus would be the one to be behind that alchemical solution.
I feel like it's connected because they're trying to make that chemical solution, but then also there's the other group that's trying to make it reverse work on just humans. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot Like it's all. I know it doesn't seem like they know about it, but I feel like it's connected for some reason.
We should try and hitch a
it's
ride.
I'm just saying I don't think it's a linear thing. I think we're missing a large part of the puzzle.
We should try and hitch a ride on the wagon of Dungeonborn.
I want, actually, if we could talk to Alexi and then do a stakeout mission tonight. I want to see if we can infiltrate the group that's taking Dungeonborn in and out in the middle part. Not go in the dungeon, but follow them into the interface office and see what the fuck they're doing.
That would be tricky. Yeah, I've used a lot of my resources today. If we get into any sort of scuffle, I won't be as useful.
Should we just do a reconnaissance and like watching, like the tiefling?
I'm just gonna be honest here. You're not as stealthy as you might think you are. We might be better hiring someone to do this for us. You can always try and get in contact with Amir.
I also feel like it's related to Morgan's brother going missing.
I think it'd be good if we can follow them back into the dungeon. You know?
Well,
if we wait for them to come out of the interface and then follow them into the dungeon.
It's like a 15-second gap I think we have to get on the same floor as them.
If we're like invisible, we can follow them in like right tight. 10 seconds?
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Yeah, we could follow them as invisible, or we could also take some time and study them for a little bit and see if there's a way that we can't blend in with their ranks.
Vincent looks towards Lavos. Do you know where Selene went? She hasn't contacted us in like 3 or 4 days. It's unusual.
Oh, she didn't want me to talk about it. Oh, but it is weird. I'll tell you what, if I tell you, I want you to promise you're not going to do anything about it. And then I will do something about it personally.
Okay.
Just want to make sure that she's safe. And some hinky stuff going down in the city.
Right. I will take that as kindred promise. She went to meet with Loth.
Okay.
She seems to have some kind of a tight connection with the Queen of Spiders. And it's not been particularly positive.
It's usually not.
No.
Does she have a way to contact us?
She should.
You're not telling me you sent one of our own to a den of spiders without any way out.
No, she is a raven with her, but my hands were kind of tied. She's not exactly the type to take no for an answer, but she should be able to cast Ascending.
Knock her out. Put her in a room to calm down next time.
I trust my kids. I think they know what they're doing. And if they don't, I can always talk to them about it. But she can send a message, and I know she's a big girl. I trust her. She told me to wait. But it's been a little while now. Now, that being said, Alexei's almost here. He's walking down the central boulevard there. He's just got out of a carriage.
Okay.
So,
well, thank you for listening.
Matilda, just to bring up what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Go over this with Alexei and see what his thoughts are. He is investigating a little bit into Marcus's stuff already. So I invite him over. We could discuss this.
I know that he's good, but are the people that are in charge of him, are they involved in this too?
Can't vouch for everyone in the Denary's order, but I'm pretty confident Lathander isn't going to put up with this type of shit in his order. So
I mean, I don't know what if Lathander's all about propagating humans versus dragon dungeonborn.
As far as I know, that doesn't exist in his portfolio.
Okay, I trust Alexi. I just don't. Sometimes just because one person's great in a system doesn't mean the rest of it is.
I understand. It's just your anti-disestablishment is
Ontarianism.
seems to make you skeptical of everyone. Makes it difficult to make friends.
Lavos pulls you guys out of this central mind world. And you find basically the room itself just kind of shrinks back to its normal state, and Lavos lets out a long sigh as he looks at the side of the wood and just runs a hand across it. He then moves towards the front door and opens it up, and Alexi's like, "Hey, big champ." He's like, "I don't like it when you call me that, but I'll let you keep doing it." Hey, everyone, Alexi's here.
Hey.
Go over and give him a hug. How you been?
Good, how are you, V?
Pretty good. There's stuff going on, but thanks for coming down on short notice.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm here for. What are friends for? What is anything for, really?
Are you hungry?
Starving.
Dining room.
He moves his way through and makes his way to the dining room. Oh, hey, everybody.
Hey.
Lexi.
He sits down. Is this for me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Sits down. Okay. So, I imagine I was brought here for some kind of nefarious purpose. You'll never get the information out of me.
Very nefarious. She pulls out the note.
He pretends
Is
to
there
pull
like
out
a
sword.
candle at the table?
Oh yeah.
There's no electricity.
Yeah. Jojo will change it to the Azure Flame and show him the thingamabobs. Got this delivered to us.
By who?
Well, that symbol is for the auction. But I very much assume it's by the people who make those, you know, the monster things.
You all had something to do with that, didn't you?
So, remember that time a while ago when we had a couple of abominations attack us in the middle of the street? I told you there was an individual called Marcus that was behind it.
What?
He visited us again this time.
Correlation does not always equal causation.
No, but one step is nothing. 2 steps is a dance. We don't want to reach the end of this waltz. You are getting targeted. This is
being
trademark.
targeted on all sides. Welcome to my life.
I don't know that it's necessarily you this time.
Did Matilda share that Ogma said that we were getting set up as the people?
No, but let's assume she did.
Yeah, sorry. I got so much information and my brain started going off on all sorts of different theories and shit.
Yeah, no worries.
I have a sunburn.
Can Jojo say that? Where Jojo says Ogma did say we were being set up. We're good to say that. You're right.
I'm sorry. The god of knowledge?
Oh yeah, I talked with him today. We had a really good conversation. He says that people are setting us up to make it look like we're the reason for this.
Okay, step 1. Let's think about anybody you may have angered in the last few months. You've only been a family for, since the beginning of the year? We're rounding the end of Elderbright. It's only been a few seasons.
Are we counting gods or people?
Well, I don't make friends, according to Vincent, so I'm not surprised that people don't like us.
I'm your friend.
Yeah.
You're a special breed, Alexi. I
You're
wish there was
rare.
more of you around.
You just need to know where to look. There's 5 at least. I know 3. And then there's Lily.
Counting.
Perfect.
Anyways.
Sorry.
I thought you meant Lily was out to get us.
No. Oh. No.
Did you hear about the incident maybe down some sort of grapevine at the auction the other day?
Yes. I had one of my friends was the people or one of the lead investigators on the case. massive, vivisected, perfectly draconic monstrosity. We actually managed to petition Bahamut to show up himself and see what he thought about it.
Sorry. At least I made a clean cut.
That was you then.
That was cool.
So, this is going to be hard to ignore, but I don't want to out you guys. We will be making sure this remains between us, for your safety, of course.
So, I was hired to put on a performance for the nobles for the auction. Killian and Matilda here were in the auction as well. They were selling some things.
Killian made something really cool.
During a portion of the auction, probably about partway through, there was a sort of intermission. A lot of the nobility left, and we stuck around just to see what was there. Might as well. I don't get to hang out with nobility a lot, so.
You know, the princess was looking at us a lot during that auction.
Well, there was a point early on in the evening after Castile made a scene and stormed out. She seemed to enjoy us, so I figured that was that. But it could be more.
I think it
You're
was
saying
more
we
you.
might have. We're currently in Old Town. We've definitely angered the royal family.
But she didn't seem to disagree with what we were talking about with the old and with the new. Anyways, back on track. Marcus came out, like he always does, greeted everyone. Us, Carmina, and 3 of the nobles were still present. Looks like they wanted to get rid of them. We were just happened to be there as well. Or could be the other way around. Maybe we were the targets and they just stuck around. So.
Can you let me know which of the nobles these were? Nobody came forward with information.
As long as you keep it between us.
I don't think they wanted to be targeted.
I can investigate them in my private time.
Is it Lionel Hayward?
Lionel? Estevan, but he's
Letary.
clean. He's there's nothing to do with him.
And I believe the old lady's name was Emmy.
Oh, yes, Emiliana.
I believe
Miliana.
Emiliana of the house. I believe her last name's just Gold.
I believe the commonality and the thread that'll connect them together is the fact that they either are connected the families that got caught slave trading and they're being shamed, or they're being taken out because they're either against slave trade or they support dungeon-born people. Really feel like what?
Sorry, I just remembered Carmina Valentine was also there.
Well, that could have been my fault. I did invite her after all.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I just mean if you need a witness. Other
No,
than
but because we know that what's his face is against the slavery that his mother got caught for. I don't know what the other nobles were, but it seems that we might all have the common thread of being pro dungeonborn and anti slave trade.
And
The, Lyrian
Carmina,
Order
we
guy.
can trust her.
Vincent just gives him a curt nod. For now, anyways.
The general of the Lyrian Order got kicked out of the auction too.
Well,
It was earlier in the evening
He
before
was-
everyone else left.
yeah, he was being a bit of when Killian came up on stage, he wasn't really happy with that.
The fact that I was
Paint any more of a picture for you, Alexi.
and the fact that I was in support of them probably pissed him off even more.
Oh, I would also talk to Bern Grandi. The Thorn Estate? Is that?
Thorn Estate?
I think that's what I have written down in my notes.
He writes down Thorn Estate. That's all Lincoln could give you too. He was like, I don't know, Thorn something.
Yeah.
Thorn
Bern
Estate.
Grandi, Lincoln Beach, who is apparently famous in the Ogden district. He was the MC for this auction, at least the first part. And he said that he was reached out to by Bern Grandi, or was that just for the apple cider thing?
think it was just for the apple cider.
I'd still talk to them anyway. They're up to no good.
Look into some of these names. He finishes scrolling them down as you guys are talking about them. Says, I'll start with Lionel Hayward. You say Estevan is not. He's already been questioned. Emiliana, I don't think we'll get anything out of her. I'll begin with the ones who'd remained at the auction. And Byrne Grandi, interesting. I have heard of Lincoln. He's somewhat of a scholar.
Mm-hmm.
Got some radical ideas about
Hydroponics.
Yes.
I don't know if you're going to get a lot from the witnesses because I feel like they were targeted for a purpose or to be an example, but there was a group of people at the top floor that were all wearing masquerade masks. We couldn't tell who they were, but they were definitely up there watching us die if we died.
Yeah, there was
this before, Alexi.
Did you hear? I don't know. You're sort of good with voices, aren't you, Vincent? Could you there was that one guy who was like, "This was my finest suit."
I tried to send the sort of draconic abomination up to his seats. Figured they could get a view together, and some sort of. Do we know what it is? Like out of game, I know what spell it is, but in game, do I know what it is?
Ooh, roll Arcana. I mean,
Also,
It
Yes,
feels
absolutely.
really iconic. Like
Bulletproof glass.
it's quite iconic, but it's also like there's maybe a person anywhere who could cast this comfortably that is publicly known.
well, I don't care about that necessarily. It's more about what the spell was.
Yeah, I just mean that it's not super well documented. For us, it's very
that's
very known. You guys are just like it's some kind of like prismatic wall, but you have no idea.
Literally
You're
the
just calling it the
description of
spell.
is
Yeah.
that, so.
He's like, I've never heard of it. That sounds wild. What is that spell even called? Rainbow Prison?
Anyways, it was hidden by an illusion magic. So had we teleported up there ourselves, we could have instantly died. But it vivisected the creature. The individual I was sending up his friend to complained about getting gore on his suit and stormed off. Vincent just like sits for like a couple seconds, and in his head he's thinking of the tone and like the tempo of his voice, and he'll try to sound like the individual.
Okay.
So-
Go ahead. This would be performance. You wanted to try and RP throwing in composer in there, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I like the RP. Add composer.
You get the cadence.
33.
Like, this is my finest suit. Oh, one moment. This was my finest suit. You literally just like fucking slam perfect. As Alexei is sitting back and listening to that, I'm going to roll a dice for him.
Vincent will also do a minor illusion of him, like, of what he looks like. I know he's got a masquerade mask on, but his hair color and his eye color you can kind of see.
I recognize that voice. The mask doesn't help, but
Paint me a picture. I'll modify it.
okay. If I recall, the man was he's part of the Thor family. No, where did I hear that? That was at court once. I think I was standing in the Hestevar, the Bright Court, when I heard that last. Some kind of a judge, maybe, or this goes pretty high up the chain, I think.
Well, I assumed the
Oh
magic.
yeah.
Whoever's doing this, it's got some high level magic involved. I don't know if it's nobility per se, but it could be maybe some adventurers or inner circles that have very high up ties.
Did Vincent show an illusion just now?
He did of just the default like mask man.
So- A
but-
minor illusion, or
Yeah. Just a,
do you show him Marcus?
oh, and Vincent will minor illusion Marcus to him.
You've seen his
think
ash
about
bond before, right?
Same. I don't think we saw his ash bond.
I believe when you first met him, you saw that it was a white ash bond with like vine.
Yeah, there was like rose on it or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. And
Let me see if I can confirm.
I'm pretty sure there was flowers involved. I remember.
Confirmed.
Haha.
He has a white
Aha.
mark. He has a white mark with bramble-like roses. That's the like
Memories.
basic pattern. As you guys sit back and you listen to this, he looks towards the Marcus one and says, "He's an informant. I've seen him around. He used to work with the Order.
Oh.
He used to bring us information about Masks District, but he disappeared maybe I don't know, a season ago."
A season ago.
He used
Not
to
very
work
long.
in your order.
It was assumed that maybe he was lost, or that Mask had found him out. But you've seen him recently.
This is Marcus, dear.
His name's not Marcus. His name was
Well, no.
Enricus.
We guessed as much, but anytime we've referred to Marcus, this is who
He introduced himself as Marcus Lathanderson. And then said that's not my real name, but we've just been calling him that.
His name's Maricus?
His name is Enricus. Enricus Gray.
Enricus Gray.
Or at least that's the name he went by as well.
And he was thought he was dead, correct?
He was assumed dead. He had disappeared. We
Have
put
you
in.
ever tried, sending him a sending message and seeing if it goes through.
Nothing.
Oh.
So it acts as if he was dead, which means he has protections.
We have our own spellogram, but we just
What?
call it.
You mean sending?
Yeah, we just call her Sarah.
What about if he is dead but he's undead?
Oh.
It's interesting. This individual, did he seem loyal to the Order? Not something he would change sides while he was an undercover spy of some sort?
We paid him well, but he had some dire straits as far as we understand, and then he was using the money towards those aims. But he was more than willing.
Sounds like bullshit to me.
It's a bit of give and take. Definitely.
Sounds like there might have been the money towards manufacturing vials. When did we start seeing these attacks? Was it about a season ago?
You guys were last attacked quite a while ago.
No,
Probably.
but were these mutants showing up before then? Or just for us?
The first attack that was against you guys was the first time that, you guys brought that to the attention of the Order of 10, and they had not heard of anything before that.
Okay.
Interesting. Why us? Why now? You don't think this has anything to do with Lavos and the Greek gods, do you?
There's not too many Greek gods within the city, and they, for the most part, keep to their own. I don't think any of them are leading any kind of dungeon ascension, and really none except for Dionysus have prominence in any particular trade. Well, there's also Hephaestus, of course.
He might have
Ignore that, I guess.
put a wrench in their plans if they were planning on using Killian's group for the stuff they were doing, and then we took one of them away to be part of our family. That kind of is a wrench in their plan. And
Well, that's a lot to just put on one single goblin. Doesn't seem right.
There was one other thing. I was investigating the missing people in the just beyond the rack. It seems like there is another small group of a small kind of well, it's a bit of a slum really, but a lot of Dungeonborn had been gathering there, so we began investigating there. And a female goblin was moving throughout the city in a desperate attempt, and they gave the name Talca. They were specifically looking for Killian.
That was their name?
That's the name they gave.
When did you last see them?
This was probably mid yesterday.
Well, she made it out the dungeon at least.
Do you think she's still there?
I'm not sure, do you?
She seemed in an awful hurry.
Maybe we should try and send a spellogram to her.
What? Actually, Vincent reaches into the slip, pulls out a scroll. I have a sending scroll if we really wish to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
we
was
should.
saving this in case, one of us was dying and all, but you can always re-up it.
Yeah, I think we should use it.
I think Killian should use it. I feel like if any of us talk to her, she might be skeptical. She's away right now, so we'll figure that when she gets back.
And then you receive all this information and y'all go, whoa! You basically pocket the spell scroll and you say it's probably best if Killian does it. And then you kind of take a step back.
Jojo wants to sort of just tap her head or maybe do the somatic components to message at Vincent again.
Vincent connects in. What is it?
Hey, do you think we want to tell Alexi about what we just discovered about the Dungeonborn being taken in and out of the interface, or do we want to try and jump on that before the Order of the 10?
We should let him know. He's been seeing a lot of activity in and out. We're monitoring it anyways. So he's probably already knows about it.
Not in this mental conversation.
Let me ask Matilda. A unit here. Vincent will connect in. We're gonna let Alexi know about the dragon. I keep saying Dragonborn. The Dungeonborn going in and out of the dungeon. He's already been monitoring.
Good call.
He's just looking between the three of you in this long drawn out silence and has already clued in that you guys are having a conversation.
I just connect into Alexi. We're having a private conversation, dear. But you're allowed to be involved now.
I assumed.
He just starts talking aloud. We have some more information. You know how this Order of Avarice, you told me to keep an eye on how they were going in and out of the dungeon. This is not related to them specifically. But have you also noticed other Dungeonborn going in and out of the dungeon? Looping and within a couple minutes going back in with other people.
The movement of Dungeonborn within the 4 interface offices has not been particularly out of the ordinary for the last, I think ever, really. It's pretty heavily regulated by the gods of the dungeon.
There's apparently nightly, carts of Dungeonborn going out of the dungeon, going to the Lanes of Dawn, and then going back in. Do you know, why they would do that, or who that is?
No. Do you know where? I mean, there's only one interface office on that end.
Yeah.
Well, have to.
We have a couple of running theories. Either once the Dungeonborn leave the dungeon, they become mortal and they can be killed, be executed on the inside then. Or they're cycling them to get them on a specific floor.
Maybe, however. The gods of the dungeon know everything that passes through the interface. They know everything that happens on the exterior of the dungeon.
They're
at
neutral,
all.
though. They won't interfere with anything.
What?
We fear this goes up very, very high, Alexi.
So they wouldn't interfere. He stops and kind of thinks about this and he says, well, it's better than the alternative that they're in on it, and we go up against the 2 strongest beings in existence.
Well, I do think they're in on it, but that's my own opinion.
Here's what I want to say. I'm going to place some people at the interface office and see what happens at night. That's, as far as I know, it's the only way in and out of the dungeon, so it should be... If anything is happening, then we'll be able to find it, but, I mean, we patrol regularly already, and I'd be surprised that nothing's come by us.
We talked to I can't remember our keeper's name.
Sylvia?
Yeah. Should we talk to Sylvia? I mean, she's part of Windward, and she's in the interface office. Not that one, but she'd be probably really interested in this.
If no one,
This is your guys' interface.
Oh, is the lane? That's the lane on?
Yep.
Oh, well then that's great. Let's go talk to Sylvia.
if no one has noticed this, aside from at least the group that we found about, it feels like people should know about it. Maybe they're using some sort of magical method to hide themselves. Invisibility or some sort of cloak. Masking illusions. There's ways to get a group around if you wanted to.
I don't know if this is related. But, and try and keep this hush-hush. Don't mention this to anybody else. We have heard that there have been some sightings of rifts opening within the city in the Lanes of Dawn recently.
I was told...
Make sure you keep that information.
The Rift Hunters told me today that they want to upgrade me to a whelp, but I had to either choose to fight Jocelyn Cromwell or take on a mission. And I obviously said I wanted to fight Jocelyn, but maybe I should say I want to do a mission instead, if it's involving these rifts.
Do you think they'd put you on something so high up? That's supposed to be really secret.
I mean, the guild has heirs, and they have the funding. But I imagine having actual adventurers at their behest might not be a bad thing. If you like, I could try and put some pressure on them to give you something worth doing. We do have some influence within the guild as well, the Order of 10.
Oh, I don't know if I want you to name me.
It might be better that we deal with it and then you go there and you're like, I dealt with it. Maybe you get an auto promotion.
I feel like they usually like assignments assigned before completion, but I mean, we could.
We were there in the moment.
We had our last run-in with the Rift. Who all came to poo-poo on us for the Rift?
What do you mean?
We clanged the sword.
Oh, that was Dallas.
So Thander's family?
Yeah.
Guilty.
How is a person to know when you're not supposed to share information? How do you know not to do that? Anyway.
Also,
I don't suppose Dallas could like make some food for some people that are like displaced because of the Whitewater.
Oh. You know what? I'm gonna ask the higher ups about that.
You could go talk to...
I'm sure Dallas would love that. I know Lana will.
Yeah, go talk to Lionheart. And I told them where they were. I don't remember the name of that location. I was asking for some food making people. Don't maybe tell Dallas I said to her.
I feel like this is I'll ask someone to handle this. I want to I have a few things on my plate right now. Am I focusing on this one, on the relief effort, or would you like me to begin to investigate the nighttime activities?
I think the nighttime activities is a higher priority.
Right. Unfortunately, a lot of my friends are kind of still caught up in this auction business. Yes.
Just to get some insight, because I trust your judgment. You've obviously dealt with Lathander yourself, being bonded to him. What's your general understanding of him? We have some doubt among our ranks that the gods might not have their own agendas, could be involved in this.
I trust Lathander implicitly. I've seen the good in the hearts of men, and I think he embodies that. He is perhaps the best of us.
Is there any Dungeonborn in your family?
A few, yes. Mostly kobolds, but not a lot. The Dungeonborn don't typically trust the families. Their societies are very closed. Plus, Frugek himself, and the One, I believe the religion is called. Most Dungeonborn end up binding themselves with their religious inclinations.
What should we do?
To be honest, I think our best efforts, and I know you guys aren't going to like this, is to go into the dungeon, I think. I think there's stuff happening there as well. And we can investigate what's in the city, and so can our allies. And they can't go in the dungeon.
I guess. Weren't we mostly going into the dungeon for Talca? And she's here, apparently.
Yeah, but we also need to figure out what's going on the 10th floor. I feel like this is all connected, and like
Just the dungeon was for Yaga.
Ah. Then.
Talca is... I'm not sure. I can't recall if Killian shared her Talca
on the 4th floor. We know that Talca is Killian's sister.
Okay.
That was brought up.
Killian shared that.
Yeah, and she did. There was the 4th floor she was spotted on, basically. We figured that out.
The wandering trader.
We should probably talk to Talca before we go back in, though. And I would love to follow those people back into the dungeon.
We could attempt that. I don't know if we could do it tonight, though.
Makes sense. I think you might be right, though. Maybe it's best if we leave, what's his face? Enrico's Gray to you. Because they definitely are trying to make trouble for us.
Just, and Vincent will pause for a second and, like, connect mentally into Lexi. Don't do anything stupid. I like you around and I want to keep you.
He pauses for like more than a half second more than he otherwise would to answer your question. And then just stone cold face responds to Jojo and says, I'll make sure to at the very least let the organization know that Gray is still alive. And then I will personally look into this business. I've been working with Sylvia, by the way. She's lovely. And we've been doing a little bit of work with the Windward as well. And for now, I think that's what I can offer. So, thank you for all the information. I think this was very valuable. And try and stay out of trouble. If trouble seeks you, maybe use that sending message to call me instead. Okay. I will just leave you with a please. And he literally pulls a card out of his jacket that says please on it. He places it down and slides it towards you. Just keep that on you. And then he stands. He moves over to you, Vincent, gives you once again one more hug. And says, you don't need to worry about me. But I'll still worry about you.
Anyways, this was good. I think we have some plans in order. Things are going down. You guys finish up tonight. Well, we're not doing anything, right? Just to confirm.
No.
Okay. We'll talk to Talca, I think, tomorrow. Track her down, speak with her, and then maybe do the dungeon stuff after. So get ready. Buy any supplies you need tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll escort Alexi, and I'll see you guys later.
Just raises a hand, and then begins to make his way towards the front.
Vincent kind of follows him out. Is Carson back yet? He will mentally connect with him.
Carson is in the house.
In the house?
Do you mind? I know you just got back, but I know you're always available. He looks outside. Did Alexi rent like his own carriage down here and it left, or is it still here?
Carson was the one who went and gathered Alexi.
Oh, okay. Well, here, let's go back in the carriage. I have a couple more things to talk with you about. I'm gonna stay at the Desires anyways tonight. So.
The two of you head towards the carriage. You hear in the back of your mind, would you like Phelan to drive you, or would you prefer that I be your chauffeur?
Doesn't matter.
All right. The carriage is there. I think Carson takes the reins. By the time you get into the carriage, Lexi moves in and kind of just gazes into your eyes and goes to lean in for a kiss.
I think someone.
Sorry?
Vincent doesn't resist, basically.
He leans back, this just long drawn out kiss, and then pulls away to the other side of the carriage. Just goes, so much is going on. Are you really okay?
Yes. You know nothing can touch me.
I know. You have that air about you, don't you?
Vincent just like puts his. I pictured his carriage has like the seats on either end, and he'll just put his feet up on the other side. I always do.
So what's up? What did you not want to say in front of them?
Nothing. I just wanted you.
Maybe we take the long way?
Sure.
And as the carriage pulls away, I think that is where we will end today's session.
Oh, wow.
Hitting the other end of the long, now stone pathway out, and just passing away as you guys see the faint rustling of trees and the early evening coming across Amaranth. Thank you all for watching. And until next time in the Dragonleaf. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Ooh, hell of a dance.
Does I have my teeth like...
That's how you know you're in it.